Wake up! Wake up me! Ah! Oh, this. Grin says, no, not Grin. Cat says, Grin, let me go. Let's go. What's happening? What'd I miss? Did you win something? Why are you so fucking juiced out of your mind? Also, what's good, let me see. Hopefully I'm saying this right. Talano? What's good, Talano? What's starting soon? Us doing just a tiny bit of first-person Elden Ring, and then just hanging out, doing whatever the hell we decide to do. Probably just hang out and talk about shit, because that's what tends to be our Saturday stream. It's just a good old hangout, essentially. But yes, I wanted to see what this city looked like. We never really got to that this week, so I wanted to just do that for the first little chunk of the stream. I should also let people get up in here, and yeah. Is this another Let It Die video? Most definitely not. But this is probably as close you're going to get to a Let It Die-esque game. Also, what's good, Lone? What's good, Fluff? Oh, no, Fluff. What's good, Lone? What's good, Cat? What's good, Raid? What's good, everyone? What's good, Nong? I see Nong. I thought pop up in here for a minute. Or did my eyes deceive me? No, I thought Nong was one of the first ones. Yeah. But, ladies and gentlemen, hot damn, have I had a... Man, I got this fucking package that won't damn arrive. Yeah, like, they missed... Like, it was weird because they sent me one that was like, it's like 10... What's it called? Like 10... it's like, it's gonna be there at 10 p.m. And I'm like, yeah, right, it's gonna be here at 10 p.m. So, what do you call it? It basically, but the thing that pissed me off is it clearly was something where, like, it's snowing pretty hard right now in Canada right now. So the roads are shitty, so it just makes sense that things are delayed. But instead of saying, like, hey, due to our inability to get you the package, that's our fault, that's our bad, we'll get your package whenever we can, or in a timely manner. Instead, on Amazon, it says shit like, what is it called? The delivery driver must have missed you. Who's there, though? He definitely was there. I'm like, no, he was not. He was not here. I don't know. Okay. Bastards. Anyways, hopefully I get my package soon. Again, it's weird. I don't like having shit, like, hang over me like that. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, I just want it to be done. I just want to have it and be done. All it is some weird Oculus stuff. Especially that I got with the whole
Catman 11,234 said the whistle/ringing is bugging.
I agree. Let's let me just run past everything because I would like to hear the somber sounds of like the sewer and the city and all that stuff. Hopefully it's not as loud. Hopefully. I don't know if it actually is, but maybe it's persistent throughout this entire time. Ow! I think it's down here that we do the thing. Here. Go through here, maybe. Oh, shit. What are the odds I can... How do I get back up? Is there a lever, may chance? Yes, there is. Okay, we're okay. We're okay. Chill out, you stupid orb. Stop it. Chill out. Scythe is amazing. Oh, that's less amazing. Oh my god, chill. Kick. Melee. Alright. And we're good. Alright, sorry about that hissing. Very annoying. The damn tuba people be popping off like crazy. GRINN, do you like soup? I find soup to be a comfort-ish food, like when I want when I'm sick.
Fetus said GRINN out here killing heralds.
Killing them damn heralds. Damn flute-wielding bastards. Or trumpet-wielding bastards. I was gonna say, though, we got a soup. I'm not sure, man. I tend to not like soup unless I'm sick. Like, to me, I want, like, a hearty meal, and soup to me is a very, like, soft, light type of meal. What about you guys? I feel like soup is kind of okay. Now, there's some soup that, it's amazing, but, I don't know, man. It's hard to kind of say. Like, there's some good soups, but as the lot of it, I'm not sure if I'm a soup person. You know what I mean? Like I said, like a steak, chicken. Although, dude, again, we've been having really bad chicken as of late. Like, it's covered in knots and shit. Stop it! I just want to explore this dilapidated city. On my nose. We could jump all the way down there, too, which is sketchy. But look how pretty this is. We have dude following us. That's less good. I really would like, what is it called? A touchstone. Oh, that's another one of you. Oh, this is bad. Oh, chill. All right, we're good. Thank God we're Barry Allen. Fastest man alive, all that. Go. I thought we go down here and then we loop around to the left and then eventually we get like a touchstone or a grace. I don't know. It's definitely huge. Very pretty. That's what she said. That's what she said. Sorry. Also, Ray said, how was your day today, Grin? My day is pretty good, Ray. How about you, buddy? My day has been pretty... I'll be honest, I've been like waiting for the stream. Some days I'm like, oh shit, I got this to do and that to do. And then today I'm like, well shit, I looked up over my analytics for the previous week of streaming or month of streaming. Kind of knew what I already knew because it's kind of easy to infer what the hell's going on. Just as you're doing it. And yeah, then I was kind of like, it's like 2 p.m. and I got like an hour to kill. So then I just got lost down the rabbit hole of shorts. And man, I wish YouTube was better, man. YouTube has a profile on me that is not legit. You know what I mean? Where like I want it to know what I want better. It's bad at understanding what I truly desire or am interested in. It gives me like the same, like you watch one short for like all of it maybe or something, and it's just like, oh, you only want that? You must love this song, and then it just starts, it starts sending me shit. Ooh, it starts sending me shit. Ow, ow, get the fuck away from me. Oh, that was a bad idea to... Oh, is there by chance? Oh, is there by chance? Ah, I'm in its mouth. I'm dead. I've died. Yeah. Well, that's it's like being eaten alive by like a fetus, dragon, whatever that was. Ew. I just wanted to get to the sewer part, and I don't know how to get there, and now we're all the way back at the beginning. It's such a long walk. And we're back with the fucking flute sons of bitches. Shut up, please. And we haven't unlocked this, so we can't have like a faster route either. Alright. We've played enough Bloodborne. I would like to see the sewers, but I would like to see this more. There it is. Alright. That's us falling to our death in Bloodborne. Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, let us just hang. I want to do a little. I want to get to the
Gnawing
sewers.
Fetus said the sewer is a pitter to navigate to, even if you know how to exactly.
Yeah, I just wanted to see it, like get into like the grunge of the whole palace. We could still possibly do that, but I'd have to call the elevator back up. We're good. I think we're okay. We get the vibe, or whatever it is. All right, this. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, let us look at Lone's Frankensteinian hellish gameplay of him essentially doing something very strange, which he has taken a support character in a video game that we play kind of called Zenless Zone Zero, and he has made that work as an attacker. Now, will this be sufficient? We'll see. That's the whole premise. Sorry. Yeah. Maybe not. Yeah, what do you call it? So on the topic of that shit, man, I am watching like my YouTube Shorts nonsense. I watched like 2 Paranormal. Is that the one with like Dean and his brother or whatever? I watched like 2 Paranormal or whatever it's called. Supernaturals is called. It's like TikTok, whatever, like little shorts. And then YouTube's like, you must love this. And I'm like, I think it's fine. But like, it's such a mixed bag, and it's not what I want. Yeah, I mean, and it pisses me off that it thinks I want it like that. Anyways, but ladies and gentlemen, how is your day going? Hopefully it's been pretty good. I think I already asked, but hey, I was playing a game at the same time. It's hard to manage these things. Why are we hearing silence? Perhaps it's just not very loud. It's too loud, sorry. Let me turn this down a little bit. Still a little too loud. It's a little interstellar-y, I'll be honest, but it will make it work. Alright, good. Good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? What do you get up to today? What you been playing? What you be getting after? I'm curious, Kat, what are you playing? Are you still playing?
Gnawing Fetus said 80% plus of my YouTube shorts end up being cat vids, skeptical smiley face.
Do you want cat vids, though? Is that a part of it, or are you like, hey, I'm happy with this outcome? For me, man, I get sent shit, I'm like, Don't want. And then I think it like profiles me because of music, because I'm subscribed to a bunch of music channels. I upload like a song every day, and that's what I do with my morning. I just listen to like 5 songs that are new that just popped up. But it like does that. It'll like send me a bunch of weird shit of like a bunch of the weird song thing. Like I clearly like that clip of a song where like a fucking, I don't know, like cringe stuff, like something like an anime character going sicko mode or something stupid. But then it'll send me like an Indian man doing chin-ups and whatnot, and they're like half chin-ups, but he's doing a lot of them, and I'm like, what is this? Why did you give me this? This is not indicative of like, if I like this, I'm going to like that. It's just strange. Also, I'm so sorry, I just swapped the fuck out of the mic. I apologize. GRINN out here killing the damn things. Yes, you gotta find a thick soup like chowder. I don't mind. Well, most of the soup we do have, it ends up being chowdery or thicker because I don't eat. Usually there's rice in the soup to some capacity, and I don't eat till later, and that rice just sucks up all that liquid and makes it a thick ass soup. It's so hot. It's so hot in here, boys. Yeah, I think I already asked you guys if you guys ordered anything from Black Friday. Again, I did. I think I spent like $120, which is not nothing, but it was one of those things where like I knew I was gonna buy all these things eventually because it was like starting to break, like my headset stuff was starting to break. But this is the thing I'm the most excited for, hopefully.
Lone Syndicate said went shopping with my mom and picked some stuff up for dinner.
Ooh.
Did some drawing. I want to show you the outline of. Then played some Nicker and now doing the event in ZZZ.
Hell yeah, the event. Yeah, I gotta start grinding out the event stuff. But yeah, so we got some nice food uptown, man. That's great. It's one of those days where it's one of the things my family often does too. It's like we're allowed one takeout meal a week, and sometimes we skip a week. But yeah. But anyways, what I was gonna say is this: what I got for Black Friday is a fast as fuck, hopefully, 20 feet cord. I hope it's enough, because there was like a lot of screen tearing happening with my thing, and that could have been because my PC was shitting itself, possible. But it also was most likely that the data transfer of my headset to my PC was like strained.
Catman 11,234 said, I've been playing Total War Warhammer 3 in my Necromancer Skyrim save.
Okay.
Warhammer has a new DLC for my favorite faction coming out that I'm so hyped for. Blood for the Blood God.
Ooh, okay, Warhammer? Yeah, what do you call it, man? I seen a meme the other day about Warhammer being weird. Like, I don't know what it was. It was like the lore for Warhammer is just a little all over the place. A little bit. Like, maybe it's like the people who make it are also like, fuck. Although I thought the whole premise of Warhammer that is open source. Bah. Red says, grinded some ZZZ events. Yeah, what do you call it? I still have to, like quickly crank up my, whatever the Lone's doing right now, which is his, like, run thing. I forget what it's called, but it's like the like once every week, 2 weeks, there's a challenge that you need to beat, and then you get a ton of Primo Gems. And it's like 1,000, which is still a lot, but yeah. Day is good. I'm eating soup, so it's a great day, says Cat. You're a freak. You're a freak, Cat. Cat just eating a whole bowl of soup is like, it's the best day of my life. Just, okay. You know what type of food I have never tried that I think I would probably like?
Mooring Fetus said it's not a little all over. It's 250% all over the place.
Okay, is that what it is? All right, yeah.
Just with the Space Marines.
I must say. Yeah, that's why I heard a bunch of things. Also, I heard a bunch of stuff where it was like, oh, dude, I don't know. People meme things too hard to where, like, I don't even know what's real anymore, you know what I mean? Like, is this a meme or is this lore or something like that? But it was one of, like, there must be, like, some sort of race within Warhammer that is like I think it's like the most loyal, you know, don't mess with any other race because they're gross or whatever the hell they are, fucking weird shit. But then there's another race which is like all about like, they're like a feminine-esque elven, I think, looking race, and it's constantly like them being like, hey, we would like to be with you, and then the other people being like, disgusting, get away from me, even though it's a beautiful person, but it's just like brainwashing of the Empire or some shit. It's just like, no, do not stray away from the path, my friend. Nog says, I like
Catman 11,234 said if it's 40k, it's the Tau and humanity.
Yeah, that might be what it is. Yeah, Tau sounds like what people were saying in the comments, I think. Nog says, I like the cat video most of the time. The day of election, where 90% of those shorts had to deal with election, which I really didn't care. Yeah, man. Dude, I don't even know. I hate so much that like Canada Land Canada land is so goddamn affected by the U.S.'s election to where people like almost becomes synonymous with like it's our situation too. People have such strong beliefs about these candidates. I'm like, guys, they're not ours. They're not our candidates. They could affect us in a big way, but still. Kat says, I've been Total War Warhammer 3 and my Necromancer Skyrim save. Oh, that's you've been playing Warhammer in the Skyrim. Warhammer has a new DLC for my favorite faction coming out that I'm so hyped for. Blood for the Blood God. Yeah, right. That's what you were saying in the text to speech. I was gonna say, isn't there like I seen one other people say that there was like a there was a faction in Warhammer that's considered like the most good or something like that, which is a thing. There it is. There it is. Another bot banned. Fuck you. Sorry. There's just people who always are like, hey, can I tell you? I got some cool ideas to make your channel grow. And I'm like, die. Sorry. It's always, man, we used to have it really bad on YouTube. And now it's much worse on Twitch. Like, it used to be always on YouTube where we got weird bots. We're like, meh. Look at Amin.
Catman 11,234 said depends which from you're talking about. In 40k, no one is good. In fantasy, good is subjective.
No, I think people always refer...
Fetus said lol. Good in Warhammer
No.
is measured in times per minute.
No. People always refer to them as the most good. So not that they are good, but just that out of all of the dark, horrible shit, they are the least dark and horrible, kind of, maybe. I'm sure they've done like one fucked up thing, but now they're like somewhat okay. I don't know. Point is, yeah. But I know it's one of the classic things where every Warhammer fan immediately is like, listen, if you imply Warhammer is good, you're insane. And I'm like, listen, yeah, I know this chick, please. I was just saying. Sorry, I know it's not Cat or Nog, it's like this, but it's just such a thing with Warhammer fans where if you mention like, who is the good guy, it's like, what, there's other shit like that's like that, man. I don't know. It's like Lord of the Rings and like why didn't they ride the birds all the way to fucking whatever? It's like there's like this like what is the other one? Oh, there's another thing. That's what it is. It's like the minute that you see like, do you want to know a cool tidbit for Lord of the Rings? And it's like, did you guys know that when that guy kicked that helmet, he broke his whole fucking foot? And it's just like the number one comment you see. It's almost like the fan base can't help but be like, it's not a little, it's all over the place. Yeah, Cinder Block Sally has a lot of decent shorts for Warhammer faction lore. Yeah, again, it's to me, I don't know if you guys agree, but I feel like I gotta be in a lore mood, you know? Like, I feel like I haven't really been in a lore mood for a while. I'm not sure if I'm just past that point in my life, but maybe I think it's also because I just read a lot of, like, manhwa and listen to, like, shorts on manhwa and stuff like that. Or manga, something like that. So I think I just am kind of like storied out, where like I already have like read a ton of these random tiny little micro stories. That the idea of like, here's lore about a game that you don't know, and it's so fucking vast that you're like, okay, I don't know what to do with this.
Catman 11,234 said I'm rabid about Warhammer because I want more people to enjoy
Yeah.
it. I love it, and I'd love people I know to also check it out.
No, for sure. Well, what do you call it? I think Warhammer is fucking awesome. I do think, what do you call it? How do I put it? I feel like there's a certain like amount that almost makes things like feel super daunting and intimidating.
Nine Fetus said ILOOOOOOVE lore in most every game.
Really? Oh wow. Do you also? Well, yeah, you read a fuck ton of stories too, so maybe that's why. But I find maybe I'm just depleted when it comes to like. Oh, there's so many like things I have to keep track of with this story and that story and all that stuff. But I was gonna say, what I was gonna say is I think when it comes to like these massive fandoms like Warhammer, which I think is awesome. I like Warhammer. I played all the games, not all of them. I played a lot of the games, and I enjoyed like the weird grittiness of the world, and I totally lean into that and all that stuff. But I will say that when you get to like when a fan base when there is like open source lore or something kind of akin to that, holy shit, does it make it so that that there is like so much to consume, which is good if you're like a fan. Like it's kind of like people who like One Piece. Like if I told you guys, hey, and like you haven't watched anime. That's a great example. Okay, maybe you're a person who like never watches anime, but I want to introduce you to something. I shouldn't probably introduce you to fucking One Piece of all things. I probably should introduce you to something that's like really fun, kind of tight story, that's gonna kind of tell you the vibe of this whole thing. You don't give somebody fucking One Piece, you know what I mean? As their first anime to consume, they're just gonna be like, holy fuck, dude. It's old, it's kind of fucking weird at times, seems like kind of needlessly perverted at times too. And Warhammer might be more needlessly bloody, but say lovey. My point is, is that it's just so much that it just kind of makes you feel like, I'd rather get into like another type of lore or whatever. It's funny that you mentioned that, Nongo, because that totally checks out. The fact that you're like, I read lore on every game I play. I remember when you were playing the Skyrim stuff, you were also popping in and being like, let me break down the Elven Dominion or something. I was like, oh fuck, okay. And Kat was also doing that. Kat says, Tau is the least horrible in fantasy. You can argue the lizard men are good, but they protect the world from evil. Humanity is awful in I'm about to say. Humanity seems like, well, I don't know. It's yeah. I feel like, I don't know. I heard someone make a weird argument for like the fucking Empire and how like it started off maybe not the worst, but then it kind of got like just completely eviscerated. I don't know. I have like, what I do is I see a short that I think that's fun, that's cute, that's neat, and then I'll go to the comments, and then it's people like talking about stuff I have no idea about, so then I kind of get like fragments of what some shit essentially. So I'm never surprised when someone tells me something about Warhammer, but I am also like, is that what this was referring to? And also, how you liking lighter raid? Raid Nade, what do you call it? How you liking lighter? Because you not only got one constellation, but I think you also got his weapon. Oh man, that seems crazy. I don't even know what his first constellation is. Also, when lighter's on screen, remind me. I gotta see what he's all about. See if this attack build is well. I think it's gonna be great. But yeah, I'm also like, oh. Is not what he was made for, so we'll see how efficient it is. I think he was able to clear everything, so. Kat says, I'm rabid for Warhammer. I love Warhammer. I want to collect models and make an army. Kat, that is the other thing. That's the other thing that's massive about like Warhammer lore and shit like that. It is, I don't know, dude. You could make like probably a down payment on like a house if you got into like Warhammer figurines for like, let's say 2 years. I feel like it's just such a ravenous consumption hobby.
Every game where humans are playable, we are the worst race ever. I mean, ever since WC2, I've generally disliked humans for being stuck-up, pretentious SOBs.
For sure. Which, it's weird, Nong. Like, I don't know. Let's think about that for a bit. I don't know. It's kind of tough to say because like I do agree. But basically, what I'm wondering is would that make sense for human beings to actually be that way because human beings are flawed, fucked up, and all this kind of thing. But like, especially if there's like another culture or something like that that's like a dominating, like violent, all powerful like GRINN race or whatever the hell it is, like some sort of like super thing, alien being, whatever it's called. Is it likely that human beings would just be like, fuck it, and like try to immediately like kill that thing? Maybe, but I also think it's more likely that humans would try to like make alliances
Lone Syndicate
to like
said
keep their head above water.
Increases the stun duration by 5 seconds, furthers reduce ice and fire res by 10%, and increases his combo by 30%.
Okay, so it increases his stun duration by 5 seconds, further reducing his ice fire. Oh, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Wow, but 30, that's pretty not that terrible at all. 5 seconds, extra 5 seconds, or pushes it to 5 seconds. That's actually a significant amount of. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's actually not terrible. Especially considering, like you said, like the more you stun someone, the little less they can be stunned.
We are the only species known where if there isn't enough conflict, we start wars against ourselves.
No, but yeah, but see, there's like two arguments for humanity. One is like the fact that humanity is infinitely like evil, and you know, we're just a conflict driven people. I don't entirely subscribe to that because of the notion that like we've developed nukes exceptionally fast. We could have killed ourselves, and we should have killed ourselves if we were so hell-bent on all those things. What makes more sense, and what is kind of backs up the kind of conflict nature of humanity, is the idea that humans were basically our evolutionary trait is tribalism, essentially. Like, can we get into big groups? Can we cooperate with one another? And then can we conquer as much so that we have more land, food, water, etc., so that our tribe can remain as healthy as humanly possible, so that our genes can remain as healthy as humanly possible, because there wasn't a surplus of resources and so on and so forth. And in fact, if you chart like anything, any like massive reduction in violence on the planet, a lot of it is not like the adage of like religion being implemented or anything like that. It's the advancements of technology to create more, like a bountiful more basically, or it being inefficient to be cruel. So like we didn't choose to be nicer. We kind of it was just more efficient to be nice, I guess. So. Anyways, when it comes to that whole Warhammer thing, I think it would make more sense that like humanity would try to like couple with like an entity that was strong and that was somewhat similar to us, even if they were pretty cruel and evil, and do that. Because I don't think humanity would like seeing a giant 7-foot skyscraper man, ogre or ogren, whatever you want to call it, would be like, we're fucking golden, dude. I think they'd be like, oh shit, you know. Or maybe we would just make like hella drones and just like carpet bomb them. I don't know. By the way, I would not put it past, like, there is a mass capacity for violence and cruelty that human beings have, but I think that's more conditioning over time that comes available, I guess. Kron welcomes all with open arms as long as they're willing to spill blood. Got it. Jeez. Humans are awful in the Warhammer because they have to be. Everyone else is awful. That's an interesting take. You're kind of like defined by your environment. I thought maybe that was the thing that I heard from like people who were defending the Empire from being so violent and brutal, was maybe that like the Empire was the whole like mass hypnosis and like indoctrination. I can't speak, but you know the point I'm trying to say, is all because of how violent the rest of the galaxy is. Almost like in a response to a world of violence, you have to be. It's almost like it's honestly, man, this is we're getting into like too much heady shit right now. But it's one of the things that I always appreciated about an anime I enjoyed called The Realist Hero, which he basically makes like a really good argument for why like dictatorship can be. I can't remember my words here. Can be a very strong like a country so long as that person who is the dictator has the best interest of the country in hand, but it's almost always doomed for failure. This is why in the anime, basically the guy says like, I'll take like executive control for a set amount of time, and then he tells his advisors, I think, to like kill him at the minute that like he's over that time limit. But he basically says like, I need everyone to like fall in line right now because I don't have enough, like we can't hesitate because our enemy and like being safe and keeping our citizens alive, we can't like have a vote for that shit. We just need to do the thing and try to imply as much as we possibly can, you know. So I think that's always an interesting argument, which I think is also, it could be the same perspective of the Empire in what do you call it, the goddamn Warhammer, where it's basically like a guy who is just like, dude, like there's like God destroying
Catman
races here.
11,234 said defined by your environment is very right. There's an animated Warhammer show. One episode starts with the quote, "An open mind leaves its gates unguarded."
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, again, you can see how like I like that story is really good. That's a really good storytelling where like the emperor is like this all-consuming god deity. But if you go up the ladder enough, you could probably rationalize how, like, yeah, dude, I was like the fucking general of a citadel or some shit. We fucking met these war-hungry monsters, and yeah, we're fucked. Like, we're just screwed. So I basically made every choice possible to make it so that humanity could survive, and that was basically brainwashing them, being cruel, all this shit. Trying to like hypnotize other races so that they could work for it, all this shit, but just to make sure humanity wouldn't get stomped out. Like that's a compelling perspective, I guess. I feel like we could also do similar things with like let's say Genghis Khan. Let's not say the other guy, but it's still, we probably should defend, but people like that. But that's also like, again, I can't help it because that's like the point of storytelling. Storytelling is to take something that you could never conceive of, you could never believe. How could you possibly like root for a bad guy, or how could you possibly like do something that you deem to be toxic or evil or terrible, and then telling someone a story where they're like, yeah, I get it. I kind of get it, man. As much as I don't approve of it, I get it. Humans are off there. Gotta feed the war machine. Understatement, Cat. Cat says, Grin, you gotta play Metal Gear Solid Revenge. It's got great political insight on the war machine. Yeah, I watch a lot of stuff about that, man. Again, like the military industrial complex type stuff. The one thing, man, where like I feel myself so like, how do I put this properly? I feel myself so like exhausted. Sorry, hit the mic. Exhausted by like the just like the events of the world and the cruelty of man and all this kind of shit. And to me, I always come back to like, it just feels, I don't know how to put this properly, but basically it very much, I get the vibe that it's some big bad doucher essentially who's making choices to like, whether it's, again, I'll probably just say this and then move right on. The amount of people that have like a world-defining view on, let's take an issue like trans issue, etc. And 90% of those people have never met them, but they have like a fervent belief in something, and like a strong belief on something, and they make up like 0.1% of the population. And instead of focusing on things like the war machine or the economy, or how most of the money, a lot of money is being pushed up at the top, and how all of these other things that like to me are much bigger issues, conveniently the news, the media just pushes that. And then people always say like, what is it called? What do you call it? Salaciousness sells, or division sells. And I'm like, yeah, man. I feel like there's some weird shit like people pulling strings behind the back. It would make a lot more sense for like all of the most richest people on the planet to be like, hey, let's just take 10% of our wealth and just invest it in causing as much chaos as possible, so we don't like get our fucking throat ripped out. But anyways, but my point is that I find myself kind of falling into this conspiracy theory kind of thing. And I just want to not essentially, even though I still have like a healthy amount of skepticism, I can feel myself just becoming so disillusioned with the world that I'm like, I don't want to become this weird person like pie in the sky type stuff, even though I think that's not a far out thing to say or suggest, I don't think. But anyways, so when we were talking about all this, it basically it makes me like when Kat said, hey, you should check out Warhammer, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't want any more. I don't want any more weird political. I watch GRINN Conspiracy Channel. It would always end with me being like, I don't even know if this is true.
Lone Syndicate said, side note, while out shopping today, I saw the store had gruel can, and I brought one, so I'm about to try G Fuel for the first time.
Oh, G Fuel. I thought you said gruel. I was like, you mean like the muck?
Nine Fetus said, a favorite quote of mine from my younger years is, I'm not racist. I hate everyone equally.
Yeah, that's good. I still feel like I got a little like, get fucked. Everyone's my enemy kind of thing. I think like, to me, if I could like come up with one line for me, it'd be like, I think everyone's human essentially. So like everyone has the capacity for the deepest sense of cruelty and evil that you could possibly conceive of, and the most like generous, wonderful heart, I think, as well. I think it's frustrating when I see people basically, I guess to me, I really dislike like virtue signaling stuff, even though I do think it's probably better than someone just being outwardly evil or whatever. But yeah, I find like I always walk around thinking I'm not that good of a person. I could be better. There's moments in my life where I would actually absolutely like choose my family and the people I love. And there's also been moments in my life where I've been probably needlessly cruel or like had a really bad day and someone else had to pay for it. So whenever somebody is mean to me, I try to be like, okay, that person's a human being. They probably had a bad day. I had those days too. Let me try not to hate them or hold anything over them, etc. Let me try not to be vulnerable and like put myself at risk, so on and so forth. Those kinds of things. But yeah, that's kind of I don't like that most people like put their nose up to people and be like, I just can't believe they did that. Like, could you believe that they were so mean and cruel? And I'm like, yeah, I can. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean you should excuse it, but it does mean like you should have an understanding of it, I guess. Define the environment, right? There's an animation Warhammer to that. The title is Dark Grim, defined it reality turned humans into computers using their brains, using corpses as a food source since they're more plentiful than anyone else. Oh, okay. Wasn't there... Yeah, I thought that I seen something similar, but it was basically like the alien or the computers basically still tried to give human beings like a really good life, essentially. So it wasn't just evil. It wasn't just like, you're our food source. It was like, no, you're our food source, but like, what is the life that you would deem meaningful and worthy to live? And then they tried to like basically create that, and then maybe that's what like the Matrix is, or whatever the hell in this concept of a story is. How is it, Lone? How's the G Fuel? I'm about to say, I've never tried G Fuel beforehand. I don't like chemical taste, and I feel like G Fuel might have that like kind of lingering chemical taste. Like, if you ever had like Diet Coke, I feel like I can really taste like aspartame and shit on there, which I don't like. Cat says, tell me how the gruel is, Lone. The yummy gruel. Isn't gruel like something you put on like a barbecue or some shit? It's like the grease or something like that. Oof. Also, what was Pirate Software said something beforehand, and I thought it was like it was too real. But I think he called his mouse. It was like, it wasn't like mouse crud, but it was something that was so good. Like, there's moments. Have you guys ever had moments like this? I think it's like a uniform thing where somebody has said something and you were like, oh, thank God I'm not the only one who has experienced that. It's like, I'm not some sort of freak who's like secreting weird shit from my hands where my mouse has stuff on it.
The flavor I got was the Sonic Peach Ring flavor, and it's good.
Oh, it's good. Okay, it's with soft peach. Ooh, Sonic Peach. What is the Sonic making a comeback, man? I don't know how I feel about that.
Fetus said we're opposites GRINN. I can't taste the aspartame in diet
really?
shit, and regular pop is sickly sweet to me.
That's hilarious. I do find if you don't have a lot of sugar, then like pop can kick your ass. That's for sure. But yes, but it's why you can't taste the aspartame. Maybe I'm just like a, what is it called? Like it's like a placebo effect. Like maybe it's not actually the case, but I feel like I could. Like I feel like I could do one of those blindfold tests where I could like, you give me a bunch of pops and I could tell you which ones had like what do you call it? Preservative aspartame in it. I love sweet things. Do you snack though a lot, Cat? Because I find I probably enjoy sweet things too. Specifically, like I like chocolate quite a bit. I love fucking pastries. Oh, fucking eviscerate pastries. Some people like candy. I fucking hate candy. I love like pastries of some kind, chocolate, etc. But I also find I don't snack a lot. So I'm not sure if that's like my body like balancing out, like the fact that it's like, oh, you like to have like a pastry, but then you like don't eat anything besides like 2 other meals a day, and you're kind of balanced out or whatnot. But yeah, I find that for me is the case. What's your favorite Gamer Subs flavor, Lone? It's also, Lone, I hope the next time you order something from Gamer Subs, you try that incel tears, because it's delicious. Sounds like a horrible sentence to say, but it's, you know.
Catman 11,234 said I snack, but it has to be calorie-dense snacks.
Ah, I see.
I gotta hit my 3,500 for the day, so it's almonds, bagels, and PBJ, etc.
Oh yeah, you burn calories like crazy, man. I find what do you call it? I think my calories like 240. At least that's what I looked at. I think that's right. But I wonder if my body has like an elastic kind of like bandwidth for like where it feels it's okay, you know? I wish I could like talk to someone who knew a lot about nutrition, about like digestion, because I find like I don't know why, but there's certain things I eat. I want to say it's bread, but I think it's not just bread. But when I eat food, I find like for hours I'm just sitting there like I feel so bloated and feel so gross. Like my body's just terrible at breaking down food, you know? So yeah. But I don't know like what's the solution to that. Is that like to fucking, you know, drink some apple cider vinegar? Is that to like eat small portions? Is that to eat like bigger portions? I don't know. Like, is that to like just be really careful with your diet? Like, and only I find if I eat like my what is it called? If I eat like an omelet with just eggs, Like, I find my body processes meat perfectly, but the moment I introduce bread, the moment I introduce like vegetables, it just fucking hates me. It's just like, oh, and I just want to vomit. I had a bad sweet tooth. You have a lot of cavities growing up, Cat, or you dodge that? Nog says, but I grew up on diet. Then I was like 6. I would drink 1 to 12 packs of pop a day. Fuck! Shit, man. Golly. Sorry. I feel like that maybe was too much. I'm sorry. My kidneys did not like what I was about to say. Dude, there is so much. We talk about this all the time. I hate to be like old man grin on you, but
Lone Syndicate said my favorite flavor has been the Shylily flavor.
Really?
And my next G-Subs flavor I get would be the Rain How flavor, and since you recommended the incel tears.
Wait. My next Gamer Stuff flavor will be the Rain Ho flavor, and since you recommend, and Incel Tells, hey, it's nice. Fuck, what was I about to say? Oh, I hate to be like old man grin again, but like like we talk about it, like whenever my nieces and nephews, they I don't know what it is, but like they're sick every other weekend, and like they'll like fall over and like their thigh will like fall on a skateboard essentially, and then their fucking strongest bone in their whole body, their thigh leg, will just snap, and you're like, what? You fell from like tall ground to board length, like, and then you snapped the strongest bone in your body. What? Anyways, and then I like have memories of us just like bombing down like a steep ass road in winter with like a tiny piece of tarp that's like that thin. And our knees are fine, shockingly enough. I'm sure they're warped and probably like got dings on them, but we're okay. We never broke that many bones. But I have a story from my brother who was a psycho. He had this guy named Dobus. It fit the story perfectly, his friend's name. That was his nickname. Anyways, but we used to live in a cul-de-sac at one point, and what do you call it? Basically, there was like a little convenience store. One of the best times of your life, by the way. If you're like a kid with other neighbor kids in a cul-de-sac, you're just getting up to mischief, fucking best time of your life. Anyways, there was like a convenience store like far away in like another cul-de-sac that we'd bike to, and we would get pops or something like that. So my brother would like save some money or something like that, and then they'd eventually go. And my parents were always sweet, so they'd buy like our friends like an energy drink, or not an energy drink, but like a drink, because they just wanted to do something nice for us to have fun together and do that, right? Anyways, so my brother would like I don't know how it happened, but they got their hands on like
Catman 11234 said kids need more milk in their diets. I take Milk Drinker in Skyrim as a compliment.
Really? I'm about to say, I got pushed back on that a little bit. I don't think I process dairy well, but I might be like dairy intolerant, whatever the hell it's called. But yes, I drank a fuck ton of milk when I was a kid. Maybe that's why. But I don't think that's actually true. I think I was like proven wrong, where like milk gives you strong bones. It's like one of those sayings that's actually like entirely a lie. but I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking shit. But I remember someone being like, no, that's a lie they told us. Anyways. My brother and his friend Dobus would go to this convenience store, and they'd buy like fucking 14 energy drinks, and they get like a big old punch bowl. And being idiots and not thinking, they would dump all of the energy drinks, like Monster, fucking Red Bull, all of it in this giant punch bowl. And then they fucking drank the entire punch bowl. But there was like fucking like 14 energy drinks in there. And in my head, I'm like, how the fuck do you guys not like have a heart attack or some horrible shit? And then I think like some kids are just fucking freaks. I mean, where like some kids are like, you're just a tank, because my brother does fit that MO. He's kind of like short and stocky, but it was one of those things where I'm like, dude, I have like an energy drink and I feel like I'm gonna pass out. Like it's so much pollution in my body that I'm like, ugh. So I can't imagine having a punch bowl full of like 5 or 7 energy drinks. May not have been 14. 14 I think would have been too much liquid to even hold the punch bowl.
Gnawing Fetus said you can develop lactose intolerance as you age, but milk is a great source of calcium and vitamin D.
Yeah, I drank milk all the way up until I was probably like 14. My favorite snack always was like you can get them at Costco. It's called Dad's Cookies, but they're like oatmeal cookies, but they're fucking delicious in milk, and I used to have them all the time. That was like my number one go-to snack before I went to bed. But I think I used to always have it before bed because it like killed me. It like knocked me out. It made me feel like I was like, when you like eat too much food and you're sitting there like, oh, I'm just gonna sweat here quietly by myself. That was what I had to go through. I did loop it. I was trying to check. Half a gallon of milk a day. I've never broken or strained anything. Too much milk is deterrent. Cat, what do you feel about
Lone
this?
Syndicate said 14 energy drinks brew my heart would be
No,
racing.
dude, yeah, no kidding. Bro, I get it, yeah. I look at this brew. But I get you, Lone. I agree, it's too much. But I was gonna say, I think me and you, Lone, both have that kind of like slight sensitivity to like coffee that like it's just the right amount and I'm okay. Lone hates fucking anything caffeine. I think Lone's not a very big caffeine person. But for me, if I have like 3 coffees, I fucking crash and it does the opposite effect and I feel polluted the whole day. But I was gonna ask you, Kat, a person who enjoys milk, have you heard about the totally mentally sound raw milk fad? Have you heard about this? You know how I talked about how I don't want to get too sucked into like conspiracy theory weirdness, even though I find it fun to think about like aliens and shit like that. But yeah, this is where like it can lead, and I'm like, no, no, oh please stop, oh god. Has anyone here heard about this? The raw milk? I think it's raw milk fad. Unpasteurized milk.
Gnawing Fetus said for me that's monster. 2 cans a day is okay. On the 3rd I'm falling asleep.
2 cans of Monsters are like fucking. I think there's like 4 cups of coffee in one Monster, and Monsters are fucking huge. Like after 8 cups of coffee, it can't does me in. What are you talking about? Absolutely, I should kick your ass. 3rd, I'm falling asleep. Yeah, well, but do you actually can you actually fall asleep?
Lone Syndicate said this is the build if you want to see it.
Oh, is that what
great.
it is? Let me try to find one that's actually with it, because I haven't actually been able to break it down. Okay, this one has them. Let's see. This is lighter. DPS lighter popping off. God damn, this went on for a while. Okay, there we go. All right, let's see. DPS lighter. The Psychopath Lone has made this character a DPS who is a stunner support, which is just not an attacker, but we'll see. Okay, that's almost $2,000, 2,000, or almost 2,000 damage per pop. Okay, I see like a bunch of 200s, which but that's a fast attack. I was about to say, I think a lot of this might have something to do with Bernice. I'm just going to throw that out there. Are you using him as like a stat stick? Because theoretically, you're applying what Bernice does is she applies like a fire dot on a person. And then that fire dot can basically build as another person is applying, either hitting them or applying another element, I believe. So that's maybe how Lone's able to like do sufficient damage. But so lighter is less of an attacker and more of a stat stick that just kind of hits a lot, which then applies stun and some supportive damage and shred or fire amplification, I should say. Yeah, definitely. So this is the boss. Okay, this is what we see. The health is going down, but let's see what happens when we stuns him. Stuns him? I hate that fucking Zenless is like, do you want to switch characters? Do you want to switch? How about now? More? And I'm like, just let me play the game. I hate it. It's still a problem, especially when you're getting to like this, when you're like chaining things together and you're just like, bop, bop, bop. What's good, Fluff? We didn't miss much. We talked about some exhaustion with politics. We talked about some Warhammer goofiness, and then we talked about how my brother and his friend drank a punch bowl full of like 14 energy drinks, and how everyone has a different coffee tolerance. And Lone is trying Gamer Subs right now, or no, it's our G Fuel right now, and he says it's good. Heresy, I say, but I laugh. That was a lot of damage. I was talking over it, so I couldn't see what happens. All right, so this. All right, Bernice. Alone, as much as I will say, lighter is doing stuff, I will argue that a lot of this is made possible by the power of twin tail supremacy. Okay, by what's her name? The dancing champ. Okay, I can't think of her name. Fucking Bernice. There we go, Bernice. But lighter's a good vessel or a stat stick, possibly. It does look so cool. He does look like he's just like throwing down. It's again, Mahoyo has a weird boner for like, let's take a character that looks like the most thug, badass biker dude, action star, and they're like, he is a support, and you're like, what? What?
Catman 11,234 said twin tail supremacy agreed. My waifu cup is that.
Lone Syndicate said I also did a test with Lucy and the result was similar.
Oh, with like Lucy instead of who? So it was lighter. So you replaced Bernice and then you put Lucy in there. Oh yeah. I would imagine. Yeah, again, Lucy, I would imagine is comparable, probably still, because again, you're basically just using Lighter as a stat stick. Not that he doesn't like provide other bonuses, but I was wondering, like, can you just force by like the gobleting all of his stats, like make him a DPS just by increasing his stats enough? But I think you need to basically just treat him as a stat stick, which he does work as one because he attacks so much, you know. Okay, well, let me see. I asked Kat about this. Kat says, I have heard about this whole raw milk stuff. Apparently it's good for you, but it hits, or it's a hit or miss, since pasteurized filters out possible fecal matter, blood, and other stuff like that. Yeah, well, the stuff I've seen a bunch of people say, like, this is like absurdly dangerous. Now again, I'm like, if you're like screwed, like you're like, I have a autoimmune disease and I'm just like hurting constantly, and if that helps you, sure. Like if you're at death's door, try anything you can possibly, you know. But I also heard the whole like the raw milk fad is people being like, this is like massively dangerous. Like this is not a. Like people are like, I always just drink raw milk, and I'm like, it's yeah. I don't know. It's just like, it's like drinking lake water is what people equated it to. Like, hey, instead of like boiling your water and getting rid of all those gross things, instead they're like, I drink water that's straight from like the ocean, and then you just see like a bunch of fish pissing in the water, and you're like, yeah, that's probably not great. Now, it doesn't mean some people couldn't have the capacity to
Lone Syndicate said
fend off
Lucy,
that.
Instead of Burnus, I also recorded gameplay of that, and we can view that for next week if you want. And I will say Lighter was about to make Burnus's ticks hit up to 95k on crit.
Well, that's pretty good. Definitely works. Definitely, whatever you decided to do, you definitely achieve your goal about making Lighter an attacker. I just feel like to me, it's the reason why I talk about that takeaway of him being a stat stick and Bernice being the key is because if you were interested in having like, it almost makes the argument of like, if you really liked a character, it makes Bernice and maybe another supporter character all the more important because they allow you to almost play whatever character you want, especially Bernice, who basically doesn't ask anything of you besides switch to me, attack the enemy once, and then play whoever you want, and they'll like do double damage essentially. So that to me is why I pointed it out, is because I think if you wanted to make what's his name, Lighter an attacker, you could probably make any future character that's also not necessarily an attacker by just having really good supports alongside him. I shouldn't say really good support. It's not about supports. It's about like Bernice, who is so abnormal in the sense that she just does like her base damage basically outside of having to use her. Essentially, like she's like a stat stick enabler almost. Nolling says the only thing unpasteurized I drink is apple cider vinegar. For sure, man. Yeah. There's also some stuff where like you can get mineral water, which still seems a little weird. Like not mineral water, like water that hasn't been like completely stripped of all its minerals.
Said unpasteurized milk is very dangerous. Pasteurization kills 98% of the bacteria and shit inherently in milk, and also filters out blood, mud, and literal shit.
Yeah, that's what people were saying. So yeah.
Lone Syndicate said I will say Caesar is also important because she gives so much attack and damage increase.
I also think it's because of shield. Like, I think shield is something that, like, I notice when playing a team that doesn't have Caesar, it's so nice because you don't have to constantly be in, like, this weird dodge state. You can just keep, like, going through your hardest hitting combo.
McFlufferkin said Bernice mostly adds off field burn status build up. Her damage is good, but I wouldn't discount Lighter's contributions to the damage output. Bernice is as much a support DPS.
Yeah, I guess to me in my head, a part of me wonders if, like, again, like I don't know. I kind of push back a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't because I don't know. I don't have Lighter, but I'd be hard pressed to find Lighter like equal to. Basically, not that Lighter doesn't work. It's just that we always have this conversation about like everything is relative to whatever else there is. So like if you're in a field of like exceptional people who are like badass warriors, and you're still a good warrior relative to everybody else, you're a good warrior opposed to a very efficient badass warrior. So you're just kind of normal. So to me, in a land of like where there's characters who are designated DPSs who are meant to just like chew through damage, pump out a lot of damage, and all that stuff, I think there's not much of a reason why you would use Lighter unless you had a character like Bernice. I think if Bernice didn't exist or if Lucy didn't exist, they just give so much helpful additional damage, I don't know if you'd be able to clear the game. So my point was not that Lighter is terrible. It's just that I feel like Lucy and them are something that it makes it more valuable to choose them in the future, or characters like them in the future, because they kind of basically make it so that if you like a character, if they're a supporter, if they're a stunner,
Gnawing
whatever,
said, in
you
a
can still go
land
them.
where everyone's a god, there's no use for demigods.
Yeah, I kind of, but yeah, it's not that you couldn't still be efficient with a demigod, by the way, but it's just kind of like that with this. I wonder if well, you could replace Lighter with anybody, and I think they would do more damage. So therefore, to me, I think Lighter is a stat stick, kind of what I see. But I haven't done the math or done the test. It's just it would be surprising to me that a support character is like on the same level as an attacker, so to speak. You know. Kat says, my grandfather says 2% milk is water. He went for the 100% full fat milk, and now he drinks heavy whipped cream on half. And damn, that's a heart attack waiting to happen. We are a 2% family. 1% people are weird. Okay. Nog says, unpasteurized milk is dangerous if 9%. Yes. Lone says, I will say Caesar is putting the work in. Yeah, with the attack buff and all that stuff too. Nog says, in a land where everyone is God, no one is. Yes. Cat says, and when everyone is super, no one will be. Yeah. Again, it's tough because like in a gacha game, I think people. It's not that, like, again, we always have this conversation where it's like, it's not like they're not fantastic. It's just, to me, like, when I look at the gameplay.
Ignoring Fetus said 2% is my go-to.
Yeah.
Fuck skim or that 1%.
I'm about to say 1%. I have once, and I thought I can't even taste the milk of it. Maybe it's better for me because I think I am lactose intolerant or some shit. But yeah, you know.
Lone Syndicate said, I will say my main reason for bringing Bernice was also to help proc the 4-Pierce Inferno metal set, where you get 28% crit rate if the enemy is affected with burn.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
McFlufferkins said, having Bernice, perhaps if I built her for main DPS I'd say differently, but she mostly keeps the burn stacking and is more ideal for disorder teams, like with Yanagi.
Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we're saying a little bit. Like, I don't know what. Yeah. So are you saying yeah? I don't know what we're talking about. I think we're both like saying other like things that maybe are true. Are you saying that like Bernice is like, for at least for you, is less of a damage dealer kind of hitter, and she's more of just a person that keeps status up, or no, disorder. I think is what you said. Yeah, disorder. Which okay. But yeah, my only thing was the reason why I said what I said about me, like the takeaway that I see from Lone's gameplay is not necessarily that like Lighter is like it can be a badass DPS, and instead my takeaway is that characters that are like the specific types of support can make it so that if you like a character in the future, you have higher likelihood of making them work even if they're not specifically a DPS, because their support capabilities already pumps out a lot of damage if you built them that way, I guess. Which I think is true, but that's why I had that.
Lone Syndicate said, also don't look at my Grace performance. She isn't fully built, and this was my first time using her.
Your Grace? Yeah, Grace was one of those ones I loved at the beginning, but the more I play her, the more I find it's maybe it's stuff that's like a symptom of like not having enough energy or something like that. But I find that's the problem with her. I feel like I don't have enough energy sometimes, like especially to get her, because it's all about like building up your charges and then like unleashing them with your skill. And I don't know. I thought she was weird. I still think I want to build Rena, by the way. I think Rena is one of those characters I think I will enjoy playing. Cat says, I love 2% myself. Yeah, I'm about to say, people who drink, I didn't even know you could go above 2%, to tell you the truth. I thought maybe for like baking. Cat says, gotta go shower, then head to a birthday party. I'll see you later, Grim. If you're still streaming, have a good one. Yeah, go have a fucking lovely time. Happy birthday to whomever is the birthday person. Also don't look at my grades before. Yeah, what do you call it? Lone. What do you call it? You alone. It blows me away that you have this many people built in general in Zenless. I find Zenless, my progression has been fleeting a little bit, you know? Like and maybe it's because I'm focusing on too many things. Maybe it's because I had like a electro team and a ice team and then a physical team that it's probably too much to like build them all out. But I find like again, it is so nice. I cannot describe to you guys how nice it is to like be playing one of these weird gacha games that scales off of builds and stuff, and to not, how do I put it? to like have like a character that has like absurd stats, like even just good artifacts, like really good artifacts. So I love that I'm like in Withering Waves. I'm at that point where I feel like my only thing I'm done with my resident is just artifact stuff. I do wish they had more like artifact storage, even though they already give us a lot. It's just there's so many types of artifacts that you get just by doing a one dungeon thing. It's like but I digress. But my point is that it's nice when you're at that point in the game where you're just fully investing in building up characters. I mean, like artifacts, I guess there's like stats, but I feel like that goes pretty fast. Like within the first 2 weeks, you can have that. But with the artifact grind, you're just hoping for a dream. Granted, maybe I don't use the disc system enough, where like you can like get yourself a perfect disc and stuff like that. But yes. One thing, I gotta shake this up. Ugh. Ooh. We might play some Zenless today. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things go. I know it's getting blocked.
McFluffikins said I'm saying she's supplementary or complementary, but not required to make lighter work. Lighter shreds fire and ice resistances, so it makes non-fire vulnerable enemies, or resistant, easier to KO.
Okay, no, yeah, but what we were specifically talking...
Lone Syndicate said out of the 24 characters in Z's I have 14 of them built.
That's crazy, Lone. I'm probably doing something wrong. Maybe I'm not using the disc system properly. But what I was going to say, Fluff, is I wasn't saying that lighter is not like amazing. The thing I was saying was like the Lone specifically gave us this gameplay saying that he was like, I want to show you a DPS lighter essentially. So it wasn't that like lighter is only made by using Bernice. It was specifically about like Lone being like, I'm going to try to make an attack version of lighter. And to me, when I seen the gameplay, it wasn't that lighter wasn't pumping out good damage or wasn't stunning or wasn't being useful. But when I was seeing this phase play out, where he's fighting like the big boy mecha guy, when I was looking at all the damage numbers happening, I think it's Bernice's tick that's doing that, and lighter is basically just a vessel to detonate Bernice's ticks. Not that lighter's not also doing good damage, but it's just Bernice's ticks, I think, push him above the state of like maybe not being able to get S rank to S rank. And then Lucy would also be similar if you had C6 Lucy, I think, who's constantly hailing down these other blows, because essentially I think Lucy also has a cap skill tree or a thing where like the faster you hit an enemy, the more you deal, you like drop bombs on them essentially. So they're both playing off of the fact that like anything, lighter's a stat stick. It comes across as like if you were to like forcibly use lighter as an attacker, that would be how it would go. But I don't think lighter would be like an optimal lighter would be playing him as a stat stick. I think the thing that makes him optimal in this build is Bernice being the variable that does that, I guess. But yeah, I wasn't commenting on the like lighter isn't very good or isn't providing a value. I was just saying that he wasn't like, as far as him being like a really good attacker or like you being able to play him as attacker, wasn't my takeaway that I got. Like I wouldn't feel confident playing a lighter as an attacker because I don't have C6 Bernice, or sorry, I don't have C6 Lucy, and I don't have what is it called? Bernice, which I think would make it, as like a casual player, would make it so that I wouldn't have to do so much to try to get all that stuff out of the character, which I do think that maybe there's a way to do it if you had like the best artifact sets as well as like the right elemental shred and stuff like that. And what I'm referring to is like being able to clear like this difficult game mode at S rank difficulty and stuff like that. Also, what Nong says, a prize. Sorry, wait. What did you say before that? But 2% all the way, and Perry's Family Strawberry Milk is God. A gift of milk. I haven't tried that. I actually do, man. How do y'all feel about eggnog? Every goddamn year we go through the same shit with my family. It's either me, or it's my dad, or it's my brothers, or some shit, who are sitting there and they're like, man, you should really get some eggnog whenever you're uptown. And then we do. And then we're like, oh, here we go. We pour ourselves a glass of eggnog. We take a sip. And then we're like, that's delicious. We take another sip. And then we're like, that's good. And we take a third sip. And we're like, this is heavy, man. This is a lot. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to drink. And then it always is like half full. We're always like we're a family of like, you should not waste, essentially, if you can help it. But it's always one of the few things where like my dumb ass is like, I don't like to waste stuff the most. So when I see it in the fridge, I'm like, fuck. I'm even finding him lactose, etc. But I don't want to waste it, so I'm like, fine, I'll have a big drink of it. And then it's just like, you're comatose because it's such a fucking heavy thing, but it's so good. So good. I can't see how people mixing with vodka would be good, though. Maybe it's because it's so thick. I feel like it would just burn the fuck out of your throat, no? I don't know. I people say that, like, eggnog and vodka is a thing.
Gnawing Fetus said eggnog is relative trash emo, just nearly curdled whole milk with booze in it.
Yeah, with
Lone
booze.
Syndicate said GRINN. I will say GRINN. If you find yourself halt on disc, try using the music store and test your luck crafting disc. My Bernice and Yanagi are main using disc I crafted.
Yeah, the one time we were using the...
McFlufferkin said sure, but unless you're intentionally subjecting yourself to a solo agent challenge, most characters don't shine without others filling their niche in a squad, providing their buffs or debuffs.
Yeah, no, this wasn't an argument of like how lighter is shitty. This was to me of like again, going into this prompt, Lone was like, I'm gonna make a DPS lighter, and the whole time Malone was telling me this, I'm like, this guy's crazy. I didn't see any video that Pop talked about this. Not that it wasn't possible, just that and to me, the takeaway that I got wasn't that like lighter could be a fucking god tier DPS, as he probably shouldn't be because he's a great stunner and provides other bonuses to the team. My takeaway was, holy shit, is a character like Bernice super good for like longevity of your account, essentially. I shouldn't say longevity of your account. If I was ever put in a position where, like, say I love the ever-living fuck out of... there's a character that I'm the most excited for in Zenless. It is the Giant Colossus, whatever that is. It's like a giant guy in armor. It looks like basically looks like a silhouette of... you know the guy from Full Metal Alchemist, like the robot night male guy? It looks like a silhouette of him. In this distance. He looks like a giant person, maybe like a bear like Ben, or just like a giant Giga Robot Golem. Who knows? But he's my most anticipated character in the future of this game, whenever he comes out. So I really want to play him a lot, and I would like to make him a main DPS. So to me, he may not be a DPS. He might be a fucking defender for all I know. Probably because he looks like he's a giant robot, and yeah. And the bigger the enemy, the less likelihood they're going to be an attacker, which is weird. But the most likely just going to be a meat shield. At least that's the vibe that we tend to get. Anyways. So to me, I'm thinking, okay, if Bernice Banner ever comes back around, I think there's a value to probably get her, because it seems like you can throw her on damn near any team, and she's going to provide a lot of value so long as you're hitting things, which you tend to be anyway, you know? So to me, when I see the gameplay, it showed off how good Bernice is, until, like Lone said, how good Caesar can be. 'Cause I already kind of know how good Caesar can be, but Bernice, who I don't have, I could see Bernice being like a really solid pick, which is shitty that they were back-to-back, but say la vie. Nog says, just wait, Nog, do you not like eggnog flat out, or do you just not like eggnog with some booze in it? You don't even like the first sip of eggnog? I get to like that, like, yeah. Nog says, honestly, just take some heavy whipped cream and mix it in like 50 with kalu, with, I don't know if that alcohol probably. Much better result. Oh, really? What about what if without any alcohol? Because it's kind of interesting. I've never seen many people who are like, I like chocolate milk, or like not chocolate milk, like strawberry milk, and then being like, yuck. Yeah, you don't like. Okay, wow, flat out, I think it's disgusting. Says not. It doesn't carry a flavor from. Wow. Okay, maybe it's just a weird thing that. Yeah, I feel like eggnog has a pretty distinct flavor, but hey. Also, no, Lone.
Lone Syndicate said, if you skip ahead, I show the build of my lighter.
What do you call it? I just seen that your primo gems are flat depleted, Lone. Damn. I know you've been telling me that it was bad, but when you see it like that, it puts it into perspective of like, oh. Alright, so this is his lighter. We got, what does your first cup look like? Okay, we got HP, anomaly damage. I don't think it's terrible. Defense, oof, we hate to see it. Critical rate, good. This defense is just not great. But hey. This, okay. Attack, not, fine. Okay, decent. Probably decent as well. Could be better, but not terrible, I don't think. Maybe he wants more attack and not critical damage, but I don't know why you wouldn't want critical damage opposed to attack. Defense. 3 critical, oh my god!
Republicans said Bernice is worth getting, but I wouldn't feel discouraged while you don't currently have her.
No, I wasn't saying I should, yeah. I wasn't saying I should feel discouraged or whatnot. I was just going on, like, in the future, Bernice is like that good, essentially. So like if there was a rerun banner, I should think about it because it seems like she is pretty good, you know? I have to say, I didn't even know you could get up there with a 20% critical damage cup of any kind. That's good. Critical damage, anomaly, oh, Lo, you get lit up, Lone. Lo, why do you even have this here? Disgusting. 3 into defense? And HP? Critical damage, though, 48, sorry, not bad. But you could definitely improve, so this is not bad. Oh, and you got fucking Lycan's goddamn thing? Lucky bitch? 5 damage. Defense, man, okay, so yeah, Lone's basically like, there's a lot that could be improved as far as stat distribution goes. So the fact that you were able to get that far already implies that there's a lot more growth to be had. 3 into HP, 1 into defense? Yeah. Okay. Impact. Also not great. Guys, I'll be right back. Give me a sec. My package might be here. Give me a sec.
Gnawing Fetus said looks like that's built as a half-assed tank.
God damn it. Stupid. You know what's ass? Sorry to interrupt everything. You know what's ass? I'm waiting on this package for like 3 days. It's not my keyboard. It's something else. It's like some stuff I bought.
Lone Syndicate said, believe it or not, this was my best crit damage piece for the
Fuck, okay, so maybe you haven't been getting lucky. Maybe you just throw on stuff on the character and be like, they're good? You run them. But I was going to say...
McFluffikins said similar to Genshin, the agents that fall into support or sub-DPS roles will usually have better future-proofing compared to one who only does DPS, like Zhu Yuan.
Yeah, I guess I just... my takeaway is that I noticed Bernice is abnormal, I guess. That'd be my takeaway. I think Bernice is like an abnormally efficient character. It's almost like in the same way that like you could argue that Zhongli is really good in Genshin, and he is. With like, you know, he provides shred, he stuns enemies, he gives you a godly shield, all that stuff is true. But then there's like 2 characters, Xinqiu and Shangli, which were like almost on everyone's team, because regardless of like all those other benefits, the benefit of just pumping out like fucking 2,000 damage every couple like swings and stuff like that was just, to me at least, for like what the end game is asking of you, was good. Perhaps Zhongli's not the best example because Zhongli has like an unpenetrable shield, so he just makes you be able to no life everything, or like you know, tank everything. But that's kind of my point. I guess my takeaway is I noticed Bernice is seems really efficient, I guess, like really good as far as like all these other characters that provide scaling, but it's very specific scaling. They provide like debuffs and stuff like that, but it's very specific debuffs. And it's not bad. It's just I feel like Bernice is just like, yeah, I just give you a fuck ton of damage if you hit stuff. That's like, yeah, to me, I'm like, that seems like a really nice value proposition moving forward.
McFluffikin said you could say Bernice is an anomaly.
Yeah.
I'll show myself out.
Exactly.
Lone Syndicate said, nah, Grin, trust my agents be juiced. Like, I can't wait to show my maids off to you. It's just that this was the best.
Yeah, no, I know. I was just playing. But to me, again, I have the impression that like everything you have is pretty fucking top notch. So when I seen this, I'm like, oh, never mind. Actually, you have a lot to grow here. Anyways, back to my Amazon story a little bit. What do you call it? I'm waiting for this fucking package to come, and they did that weird shit like I talked about at the beginning of the stream, where they basically they didn't do the order, and instead Amazon's like, oh, they must have missed you, and it's like, no, they didn't miss me, they just didn't go to the house. Like, it was clear like it was snowy and they just were delayed, which is totally fine. But now, what do you call it? There's another. My package must be in like another Amazon or whatever this delivery service thing is truck, or like van, and they must be like not working today or something. I don't know, or maybe they crashed. God, I hope that's not the case. But regardless, a family member in my household also has a package coming, so their package came, and I'm like, God damn it, we're in separate vans. It's stupid. So of course I hear like a ding at the doorbell, and I'm like, ooh, and that's not what I just went to. But this morning I heard a ding, and I was like, and then of course it's nothing, and I'm just like, God damn you. Anyways, yeah, that's me venting. Thank you for being here and just letting me just.
Gnawing Fetus said USPS equivalent is trash.
Well, no. Weirdly enough, mine is we ordered from Amazon, but I guess Amazon is like outsourcing to other like delivery services, which kind of makes sense for like how weird, especially for Canada right now. We're on like strike or some shit. but what is it called? It's like this weird thing that I don't...
McFlufferkin said Yanagi and Jane are really strong as you find your groove with them, too.
And it's called Dragonfly
Anomaly
Shipping.
Is my favorite type,
whatever that
followed
is.
by Stun.
It's called Dragonfly Shipping. I don't know what the fuck that's about, but yeah. That's the weird like shipping service we have. And I'm like, damn you. Like, at least Amazon, it's like, it's them. Instead, they hand off my package or some shit. And I'm like, Nog says, look like that's built as a half-ass tank. Well, it's not a tank. That's the weird, like, you have to have defense in there or some shit, yeah. UPS is trash. I actually haven't had too many problems
Gnawing
with UPS.
Fetus said in the U.S., you can either do their shipping or United States Postal Service, USPS.
Yeah. I had to use UPS for my keyboard, USPS. But it's weird because apparently how it works, so like I ordered my keyboard from UPS, but USPS. But and I thought it was just going to go like USPS to UPS, which is a Canadian equivalent, and then it was just going to go. But unfortunately, like I said, Canada Post, like our others, like pretty high quality, like people like using that service as far as getting your packages and stuff. That is like on strike right now. Because, of course, they do that right around winter season when they're the most valuable and stuff like that because of stuff. Makes sense. But the point is that I thought I was going to nix out of there, but apparently, like, everything goes through this, like this main hub of, like, Canada Post. So, like they pass off they're basically they're part, I think, the transitionary period of, like, getting this and then giving it to the next person. So I'm still without my fucking package. So I thought, like, I was going to get over the weird, like, striking shit that's going on right now. Nope, dude. So my fucking package has been sitting there. We were supposed to get my keyboard like a month in the middle of the month, and it's the end of the month. Jesus. And I'm like, damn it. Bad time to go on strike. I know. In the U.S., I can either do their shipping or United States Postal Service, UPS. UPS is decent. USPS is trash. That's shitty. I always hate when they do that shit where, like, they make you, like, it's like a fucking, feels like a, what is it called? Like a shakedown. When you, like, order something from another country and then it gets at the border and they're like, where's my half? Where's my half? You have to give your postal fees, baby. Post. It's just a little bit of, it's where's our pound of flesh? And you're like, God damn it. And it's usually like, I don't know, usually, honestly, I think it's like it feels like a mob tactic. Because, like, if you don't pay it, I think they just, like, hold it for a long time and then eventually send it. At least that's usually how it goes. I don't know. It feels like a criminal organization. These postal people. Maybe that's where things came from with, like, the whole going postal. I think it was the monotony of life, but I digress. Yes. Also,
McFlufferkin said, yeah, most of my orders goes through UPS, then is handed off to USPS, and I had one order lost in transit when it was at the handoff stage. We got a replacement on the way, a month and a half later.
Oh, I hope that's not what happened. Oh. I was going to ask, what do you call it? What is going on with that whole PlayStation buying FromSoft? Is it FromSoft? Yeah, whatever. The like the Souls people. Is it kind of like what was happening where, like, Xbox was, like, buying Avowed and Bethesda and all that stuff? Is it similar in Activision? Is it similar to that where, like, they're in the process of making that deal? Which, by the way, dude, Sony, as much as they make great games, what a bunch of weaselly fucks. I'm sorry. But, like, for years, I was hearing about how Sony was like, they're going to have a monopoly. They're going to, they shouldn't absolutely do this. This is not fair. And then for fucking them to basically be like, they bought Destiny.
Lone Syndicate said,
them.
Yeah, I heard that headline early this week. Didn't look into it.
Yeah,
though.
me neither. Yeah. Oh, I've seen some videos on it, but I was kind of like, fuck you. Like, it's just on principle. Like, you knew you're probably not, like, this couldn't have just happened. Like, you probably were in talks for a long time now, being like, hey, after the success of Bloodborne and Elden Ring combined, they're like, fuck, we need to lock these people down, like, now. But yeah.
Gnawing Fetus said pretty much, but Sony has a bad track record for FromSoft games, aka
yeah,
Bloodborne.
never releasing like a remaster or like a on PlayStation and such. The only thing that gives me kind of some hope is that, like, Sony's beginning a little bit more generous with putting things on PC. it still sucks because like you miss the hype cycle of like being able to play a hype game.
McFlufferkin said Sony is trying to acquire a big Mr. Diagruo. It's more than getting game studios or IPs, and we only hear about it as it's nearing the end stages.
Oh wow, so it's about to do that. Oh okay, I see. So it's a big, it's almost like a not Tencent, but it's like a, there's a like Bracer Group is another one I think, or something like that. It was like one of these things that's like basically like a hive mind that just owns a ton of these games. But interesting, yeah. To me, I don't know, man. I found like again, it's selfish, but like hopefully, Sony continues to put stuff on console or on PC. But at the same time, that's why people are like, at least Xbox, like people shit on Xbox a lot, but like at least Xbox is still like fully willing to just put stuff on PlayStation. Like they're not trying to have exclusivity, which I still think we shouldn't. It could happen. Like they could be like, we're not gonna do that, and then like now that Sony starts buying shit, they're like, okay, now we can do that. Like you put us in a position where basically you're also devouring chunks of the market, etc., you know, and stuff like that. So,
Gnawing Fetus said it's a meme about studios being embraced by the Embracer Group.
Embraced by Embracer Group. Well, that was one of those weird things, man. I don't know how I feel about that because one of my
Lone Syndicate said, I will say I haven't used a stunner in so long. It felt so good to run Lighter and Caesar together and have them stun enemies.
Now you get it, Lone. Now you get it. I was about to say when you were like, why are you running 2 stunners, Grin, when you were looking at my my bow staff girl and Caesar. I'm like, I don't know, Grin. Like, it feels nice, man. Like, you just switch to 2 characters, bop, 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 and then they're just stunned up, and then you just start piecing them up with your DPS. It feels fucking sick. So I'm happy that you said that because it's like, yeah, I'm glad it's not just me that like, I know anomaly do big number damage crazy, but it feels just fucking good to like just pop someone and then just be like, oh fuck, oh my nose, oh fuck, oh my ribs too, and then you're just like, just chopping them down.
McFlufferkin said Kadokawa is a big media group in Japan.
Oh, okay.
Lots of anime studios and other stuff. Just so happens to include FromSoft and Elden Ring.
Oh, I see.
Bandai Namco owns Dark Souls. Activision owns Sekiro.
Oh, interesting. But none of those games exist without the without FromSoft, right? Interesting. So Activision, okay. And now, well, like, do you think that FromSoft will still be able to like do stuff with other things? Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that either. Yeah, so FromSoft. So like, if Xbox wanted to have another Sekiro 2 or something like that, would they have to do it through Xbox or through Sony? Now that they own I guess they still have the IP, so they could theoretically like commission somebody to do it for them. But I don't know if they'd ever do that. I feel like that'd be dead on arrival just because of the power of FromSoft at this point. Yeah. Dude, I don't know. All this stuff seems like, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Gnawing Fetus said, yeah, FromSoft wasn't very financially solvent. And Sony owns Bloodborne.
Oh, I see. So yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, yeah, like it was almost like a toss-up between, I don't think Xbox could have, but I guarantee Xbox probably like went up to them and was like, hey, or maybe there was some weird shit behind the scenes where they're like, we'll take Activision and Bethesda.
Said Elden Ring is pretty much self-owned IP at the moment, but Sony will potentially get the IP rights, as they do own Demon's Souls and Bloodborne.
Oh, okay. That's going to be a weird future, man. I don't know if I mean, I think on PC land we're making it better than Xbox people, but it does seem kind of shitty. I mean, I don't know. I was surprised when so many people were very upset at Xbox, saying that they were going to try to move away from the console business. I was shocked when I heard people say that. I guess maybe there's like people who've been like locked in Xbox fans for such a long time. But to me, I was like this is something that's been like writing on the wall for years now. Like where it just seems like Xbox was like, we're just waiting.
Fetus said, I think Sony bribed them with letting them make a new Bloodborne port.
And they wouldn't. That'd be insane, though. Sony would be like, Bloodborne sold amazing. People have tattoos about the game, like they adore it. So, yeah, unless it costs like so much to make. But I don't know, man. I don't know if that's the narrative I've heard, but I'm not sure if it makes sense. Like what I think makes more sense is that Sony knows Bloodborne is such a fucking hot commodity that like it would instantly sell a fuck ton of consoles. So they're waiting to like keep Bloodborne for their main console push. I don't know if Sony's like, fuck Bloodborne just cuz. I think that makes some sense is that like, hey, you're working on Bloodborne, because of course they are. I would be blown away if they weren't working on Bloodborne in some capacity. And then they're like, okay, well, we're launching like these tinier consoles, like the Pro version of our system. And in like 2 or 3 years, when finally Bloodborne has had enough time to cook, we'll release a new number 2 of it. But in the meantime, you can make like a quick remaster, will allow that, and that can be fine. Like that would make more sense to me than like just Sony being like, "Fuck you, Bloodborne, never gonna happen, nerd. We hate money," etc. Unless it costs so much to make that Sony was just like, "Hell no." But I can't see that happening, given that the Elden Ring was made by FromSoft themselves, and I think benefited
Lone
from all the
Syndicate
sales.
said,
of
I
that.
uploaded a sneak peek of my next piece in the art tab, Grin.
Ooh, let's check it out.
McFluffican said, given Sony sitting on IPs, the whole barring access for countries that PSN isn't available, and other exclusivity decisions, it's not leaving us feeling optimistic
No, for sure,
about
that
this
makes sense.
potential acquisition.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't see that weird thing I just seen on the gaming tab. I seen that Dauntless news. I was like, is Dauntless going to relaunch or what? Let's see, art tab. Let's see, can I show it? I can't. Ooh, this is the starting out of Lone's new drawing.
Ignoring Fetus said that's pretty much what Sony did, except they don't hate money. They hate that money.
What? They don't hate money. They hate that money. What's that money? What does that mean? Are they racist? What's going on? Anyway, but I like it. I like the positioning. I think it definitely seems like a hard contortion, like where her head's here, her chest is this way, and then her hips are like more to the right or left. I feel like they should be more. I feel like, yeah, that's a very like, it's almost like this, and then like this, and then like this. It feels like a lot. It feels like a lot of contortion happening. Just the legs. I feel like the legs are the only thing that doesn't seem like an anomaly. What is it called? Not anomaly. What's the word for like your skeletal structure? Anatomy. The anatomy looks a little looks right, but I like that.
Lone Syndicate said, not sure if you can tell, but him getting into the whole cheerleader.
Oh, is that
phase,
what? Okay,
lol.
that makes more sense. So it's like a flip, maybe. Okay, that makes more sense. That's pretty. Which one is like that? Bloodborne money for God knows what the fuck reason. Why? Maybe they're racist I guess I just struggle to see that being like a motivational force. It makes much more sense that, at least to me, that like, oh, they like Bloodborne was probably like one of their biggest system sellers, to where like as much as they're trying to make like the mascot for PlayStation, this tiny little robot, etc. Most people, that's not going to make somebody buy a PlayStation 4
said
or
Dauntless
5.
is getting a
6.
revamp update and finally coming to Steam.
Nice.
Not quite the same as Wayfinder conversion, but they are simplifying monetization as part of
That's
this.
pretty good. That's nice, at least. What do you call it? But I was going to say, it makes more sense to me that they like...
Lone Syndicate said also, this is my Zhu Yuan and Jane Doe team, although it's not the star of the video.
Yeah, it's just kicking ass in the back tower. I see it. I was going to say, fuck, I keep losing my train of thought. Text-to-speech. I need to have like a button I press to be like, pause! Pause, and then go again. I feel like I'll forget to turn it on, so you guys will have to yell at me if that ever happens. But, what was I gonna say? Yeah, stream be swinging hard lately. What does that mean, swinging? The Bloodborne thing. I don't think Astrobot is going to be a system seller that Sony is looking for. So even though they may want it, I don't think Horizon necessarily is a system seller that they're hoping for. I think they damn well know that Bloodborne 2 would be a absolute system seller. Yeah, for sure. Like I think people like Horizon. I don't think people would. Yeah, I don't think, especially now that they're starting to release stuff on PC. I don't think they would like go out of their way to do that shit. Like make it like only. Like buy a $400 or $500 or $600 console just to be able to play this game. Where I do know a lot of people who cared about that. I do think that God of War, I think, was enough of people were interested enough in it that they were considering buying a PlayStation 5 or whatever it is. But then they don't make them do it, which I think is something that Sony probably will learn from in the past. I feel like Sony is, for the next console, if they're not going to release it on previous gen consoles, I could see that. Because I feel like that was their blunder in the last time. Maybe not, because they kind of they fucked with scarcity a lot, which, yeah. So there just wasn't a lot of like consoles to go around. So maybe they'll just keep doing that. Maybe they learned that from Nintendo. Yeah. Flush says, I believe other TTS stuff allows you to pause no, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a thing I can do. I just haven't set it up yet, and I need to like designate a button that I can kind of kill on my keyboard, and then that be that button. You know what I mean? Also, did you guys? Oh, there's another bit of news I want to talk to you guys about. That was in the gaming space. It wasn't Sony. It wasn't Bloodborne. It was. Oh, it was the Power World stuff. That sounds a little bit old news, but there was Power World news where it was really like, God, I fucking hate Nintendo so much. Basically, like Nintendo was basically they were trying to get like a civil court whatever like thing, but they weren't trying to like gouge all the money out of Power. What they were trying to do is even sneakier. They were basically trying to get like a legal precedent of them basically like yielding that like, yeah, see, there's precedent for like people not touching our IP. And I'm hoping so fucking badly that Power doesn't fucking give in so badly. What's good, Bolty? Also, Nog says, you didn't hear? Steam is basically outlaw DLC season pass. Wait, what? You didn't see? You didn't hear? Steam is basically outlawing DLC season passes that don't list what actually is in it, at least vaguely, or are released within 3 months of when they say it will. Huge fine and shit. Ooh, nice. That's pretty good. That's good Steam doing stuff. I've seen. You know what's fucked up, dude? You know what's weird? Well, one, there's a lot of like news about like this Steam headset VR thing that people have been talking about for years called Deckard. I want it to be real, although I don't think it's for me because I don't really care about standalone. But like, yeah, I wouldn't mind that working out. Anyways, but they're also greenlit the Steam keyboard. Or not keyboard, controller. So you know, like the OG controller that Steam had, where it had like a thumb pad, not like D-pad. I think still works, but it's basically like just like a mouse cursor, flat circle essentially. And people swear by that thing. People love that weird controller, which that seems weird to me, but I guess yeah, fan base for everything. But they're making another controller like that, and I'm just curious to see what Steam will do, you know, because Steam tends to be like really, really, really slow on everything, but they tend to have like unique ideas at least, you know, like a concept that you can be like, oh, okay, I kind of get what you're trying to do with that, you know, even if it doesn't hit. Also, Bodhi says, so what's good, Bodhi? Bodhi says, I'm in game right now, so I'll be silent for a while. Gotcha. Gaming hard. Got it, all that. Steam is slow but good. Even if it's yeah, I was about to say yeah. Man, oh man, I see so much stuff happening with the whole VR landscape. It's both interesting, compelling, and a lot of disheartening stuff as well. Where it's like, oh, there's people who are not making the right headsets that I don't think people want. There's like people failing at like the R&D-ification of things, and you're just sitting there like, man. Like that was something that I was hoping that the Apple Vision Pro might do, where like it might induce people to kind of consider making like VR stuff or like investing in this space. But of course, Apple had to make it fucking the most pricey thing possible. But I kind of get where they're coming from because they wanted to kind of just not have it be like the cheapest thing ever.
Said, yeah, Valve is enforcing requirements for devs, publishers to deliver on promised content in season pass sort of bundles.
Okay.
And give at least a quarter hash of year and commit to it. No bait and switch.
That makes sense. I thought Steam was always pretty good about like making sure refunds were given essentially, regardless of what happened. Maybe that's why. Maybe they're like, yeah, we hate holding the bill if you fuck up, you know. Especially if you're working through like third parties and weird stuff like that. Like maybe you might be able to get your money back, but it's maybe not worth the squeeze, which I think could be a lot of things. What do you call it? I gotta use the washroom real quick, guys. Talk about yourself. I'll be right back. Ooh. Ugh. I'm back. I'm back, and my sinuses are still fucked up. What was I gonna say? What do you guys want to talk about? I'm not sure if I want to jump into the story stuff too soon. I know Bolty wanted us to read his story. We checked out Lone's art.
Said a bit of a Nikkei update.
All right.
But my favourite Nikkei is getting another version, and I'm so hyped for it. Her new version. She's the reason I even download Nikkei to begin with.
Wow, really?
McFluffikins said, I believe it's difficult to refund for a season pass, especially if they still delivered part of the DLC, but not all of it in the end, so Valve is trying to prevent such nonsense.
Makes sense, yeah. I feel like a lot of stuff is like people...
Gnawing Fetus said they'll also refund PPL who bought the season passes that didn't deliver in a timely manner. They have 3 months to get it out, then another 3 months if they're slacking, but after that they're done.
Yeah. It seems like it's people want to be like, Valve is the hero, and in a lot of ways it's probably like we were hemorrhaging money and we had to put a stop to this. You know what I mean? Which is not to say that Valve hasn't done something good. It's just there's a lot of people who are just like Xbox fanboys. There are people who are like Valve fanboys, which I think I'm more akin to a Valve fanboy than anything else at this point, because I'm a PC person. But alas, but. Also, no, are you playing Elden Ring, right now? I see that, like, you were sending us images, so I wonder, did you go through the trouble of just loading it up for us to, like, help me guide me through? Thank you so much, by the way. You were, like, a tremendous help through this whole entire week, especially when it comes to navigating, like, the weird shittery of Elden Ring, which I know some parts, but I don't really know what to do, but I think this week was largely a success. I would call it Lone. What's the Nikita DLC you were talking about? That, like, is this a character that you've seen in the game at the start, and then that's what made you download it, and now she's kind of aged out, and now she's back? That's the new fundamental policy window that hasn't been a thing until now, but it's definitely more than about the bottom line rather than the sole benefit to the player. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, and again, it's not that players aren't benefiting either, stuff like that. Yes. My body hurts so much, dude. If anyone's going to do workout stuff, be careful with the 100-pound slam ball. If you're going to throw it around, it's going to fuck your joints up and shit. Who would have thought throwing like a quarter of a human around is a lot for your spinal system? Also, check this out. This looks like an elaborate torture device.
Gnawing Fetus said not right now. But you'll notice I had to switch playthroughs yesterday to be able to show Yar where shit was at the end.
I actually didn't notice, but thank you so much. Oh my god, this is for our maybe possible keyboard so that you can clamp it to a desk and then have tented keyboard. So it's not like this, it's like this. So this little bit swivels. We're at this point of the stream where nothing's happening. I have something on my desk I want to show you. It's neat. Our keyboard hasn't even arrived yet, and I'm buying accessories for it. Ladies and gentlemen, we might move over a little bit to Zenless, just so bang up my energy grind real quick, because that is something that I need to check out the list and do today. And then we will probably read Boltia's story, and then I might ramble at you about my story that I've been thinking up a little bit. Maybe. That looks like a wax. What's a wax ring? What's that? It's just got these little clamps that you can open. And that I think it bites onto the desk. And then it can like tent the keyboard so it's like this or like this. Something. What's a wax ring? Like a wing of wax? Like a
Lone Syndicate said, oh, story time.
Story time? I don't know story time, man. Man, there's so much going on. I don't even know what part to tell you about. That's not even like a good thing. I'm like, I'm at the point right now where like I'm trying to deliver information in a fun way. So I did a time skip where his parents are basically like, holy shit, our kid is weird. And in doing so, them like bickering back and forth with one another is kind of a vessel to kind of give people bring them up to speed about all the stuff that you're like little threads essentially for him to eventually explain, which I think is fun. But yeah. There's like stuff in the future that I'm trying to like not forget, so I'm trying to like write little things so I don't forget like the path here. I do think I have one thing I want to try to tell you guys, but mostly just if like you guys can see the goofiness in it, essentially, like the aha-ish-esque kind of something moment. Give me my energy. Hello, doggo. And good. I will say, I don't know if I love the way Lighter runs. It's kind of very like action hero, ooh, ah, kind of thing. Good stuff. And now we dump all of our resin into the ice stuff, which I think is this. Yes.
Lone Syndicate said, Grin, would you mind showing me the builds of the characters you're working on? That way I can give you some tips if needed.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the only thing that I kind of have yet to do, so I feel like, what do you call it? My Elden is the only thing I really need to worry about because I was kind of a lot to explain, Lone. A part of it is like, because we might be going for either the Electro Bow guy or the Ice Girl, I think I have a shit ton of electric parts, essentially, because one of the things I was farming for happened to be electric stuff as well. So I think I'm fine with, like, electric discs. Maybe not fine, but, like, okay. So my only thing I need to improve upon right now is my Ellen. My Ellen's the only thing that's kind of weak. I think I have, like, pretty good stats for her.
McSufferkin said you have about 2 weeks left for Yanagi and Lighter events, alongside the Night Boo and some other stuff. Lots to do, little time to do it.
It's true, yeah. It's one of those things. Hopefully there's not, like, a time mitigation thing, right? I always find that... Yeah, saving things to the last minute also makes you exhausted to have to, like, run over and like, do everything really quickly. But yeah, the only thing that I am doing for my person right now is this, which I'm just trying to boost up her stats a little bit better. Or like I have her with pretty bad stats, more critical rate, stuff like that, better scaling.
Syndicate said I would hold off on farming disc for Haramasa because we might be getting new disc set.
Okay, so we're not really farming for Haramasa yet. Good. So we're farming for, basically ice and proficiency, essentially. So like a supporter character, which I don't think is terrible because I think given who I use, I think I might use her and Haramasa, which she could benefit from like the shredding of like weakening the enemy to Electro by giving her the anomaly debuff set, which is also in the ice enhancement set domain thing. Yes. Nog says wax. Wait, sorry. To smoke Mary Jane wax, get you higher faster, and it's different. A lot better on my lungs. At least.
Said Haramasa leaks are definitely pointing at a Game Awards freebie. Ooh. It lines up with the time he releases and the event.
Ooh, I hope so. Wax is basically concentrated weed, like 90% ish TLC. Oh fuck, that's gonna fuck you up. Damn. Grin, will you mind you show me that? Also, Noah's dab or dab. Yeah, I've heard about dabs before. I've also heard about what's that shit that people put in their fucking lip. Not like tobacco, not like tobacco or chew or whatever it's called. It's like a fucking beanbag a little bit. Yeah, I see people use that, and I'm like, eek, looks like a lot. You know. Oh. Apparently, it's just like pure nicotine. It just yeah. I meant to do this, sorry.
Dodge.
Go, Ellen! Do your thing! I guess we'll do this and then get a buff. Dodge that. Oh, I fucked up. Well, it's fine. I meant to choose you, but it's fine. This domain, actually, people dive way fast. Back to Ellen. I guess you can finish it off. Yeah. Lone says it would hold on farming the Haramasa stuff. I see your Ellen has the same problem as mine. Too much crit rate. Exactly, Lone. Although, I do think if we ever don't have to go, like, just... I think Ellen has, like, if you have 2 ice people in her party, she gets more crit rate, which is something that, like, it wouldn't be terrible to lose. Like, that would make her a character that doesn't really require that level of stuff.
Who's next?
God damn it, Harmasa!
McFlufferkin said I'm close to first soft pity with Lighter, but I needed another 30-day membership to help supplement my dwindling polychrome sources.
Yeah, I had to do that with Withering Waves the other day. Where I was like, shit, man, I'm almost at the limit.
Gotcha now.
Lone Syndicate said Grin I would put Lighter in the 2nd slot and Sokaku in the 3rd slot so you don't give Lighter the ice damage bonus via the quick assist.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I can always switch, I think, usually to that maybe. I guess. What would that look like? Would that be Lighter, her, and then Ellen at the bottom? I guess that makes sense. Okay. Okay. Nong says, snuff. That shit nasty as hell. That comes from a smoker of most anything smokable. Damn. Nong is out here. Okay, funny because my image of Nong in my head is just becoming a mutated version of a man. Like I think Nong. Hopefully I'm not being rude by this, but I think you mentioned that you are Asian, if I'm not mistaken, and also you are very thin because of the diabetes, essentially, that. And I think you've also said that you're short a little bit. So I'm just imagining like a small Asian man fucking smoking a bunch of blunts, etc. It's quite the character in my head. This. Okay, so what if we change out? Oh wait, no, I need to adjust, which is modify. There we go. If we put this,
Want to see the red scar?
would that work? So now we have him as the main. We use that to buff up that. We have this. I could switch left to go back to Ellen. Kind of normal for my one team.
I'm here, so we're good.
Lone Syndicate said I do feel the effects of that G Fuel kicking in. I give the Sonic Peach ring flavor 9 out of 10.
Ooh. Do you like coffee feeling, Lone, or no? That's interesting that she also gets that.
Gotcha now.
That's got pretty good AoE, actually. I don't think it did. But it's not terrible. We'll do this. Bang! And then to you. Like Alone was saying. And now we should be ready to rip. No, he's weak! Damn you! The stun is gonna go off. That worked out. Ellen, man, that skirt is made of fucking paper. Or like anti-gravity pulling to the sun, I guess. It refuses to stay low. Lone says that. Yes. Fluff says, and I used about 10 on Yanagi's weapon banner, so I'm feeling a bit regretful right now. Well, what do you call? I don't know if you should. I feel like Lighter is good. I don't know if he is needed. Like I don't. Like again, if there was like a banner right now where it was Lighter or Bernice a little bit, I think I might favor Bernice a little bit, even though I really do like Lighter. It's just I don't know. I think you're fine. I don't think you need to feel like you were losing out on something. Although I think it was Raid who was trying to get a character and then ended up not getting him that night and then got like all of them at some point. Lone says, I'm not that much of a coffee drinker, no, but you do drink those Gamer Sub ones, which about have a cup of coffee per scoop. So if you have like 2 scoops in a Gamer Subs thing, which I think most people do, it's about 2 cups of coffee. So it's not like they're not, it's just that I maybe don't seek it out. Nong says, nah, all good, man. Not Asian, 80%. Oh, 80% English. Okay, English, the rest is Polish. Gotcha. I see a... The image has changed to be the palest man possible.
Lone Syndicate said Lighter's Fist of Fury attack can pull in enemies a bit. Also, it has surprisingly hitbox, even can hit enemies that are to the side.
Again, I wasn't saying the Lighter's bad. I was just saying that, like, I don't know if it's if I could choose between other characters, I might choose another character. You know, although I do think it looks cool. I'm 5'5". That's not bad. Okay, I was thinking more short. And 150 pounds. I smoke weed and cigarettes currently. Do hallucinogens and use to smoke meth. Whoa! Fuck! I didn't know that. Don't be busting out that. Goddamn, no, please. I think I used to be. Woo. Also a diabetic since I was 2.5. Damn. 2 years old, you mean? Shit. Ray says, I'm just waiting for Maya to be released. You're not interested in the Archer guy raid at all? You don't want to, have you seen his leak gameplay? Or is it just because he looks like a tiny little femboy person that you're like, yuck, disgusts me. Where's my waifu? This. Wait.
I'm here.
Fuck it. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have him. Maybe I should. I don't want to start the fucking game with Sukaku. It's weird. And I wanted to do this. My eye hurts. I meant to do this shit.
Lone Syndicate said I am in the Miyabi waiting room with Yare.
Oh, you are? That's awesome.
Get lost.
You stunned? Yeah, I'm wondering what the best sequence is, because I don't really like Lighter being that first one there. Yeah, it's weird, because sometimes it lets you pivot. I'm not feeling that right now. Oh no, you've killed a deer? I just seen a quick message from from Nong. God damn you.
McFlufferkin said it's less about missing out on Lighter, and more about being about 10 pulls short that could have been saved for this banner rather than Lighter.
Makes sense.
One A-rank engine work.
Makes sense. And pop. And he's definitely gonna get stunned. So we'll do one of these. Do I have to switch to my Bang Boot to get its damage bonus or no? I think I might. I always forget to do that because I hate the fucking like trading and things. Nong says, another note, I've killed a deer. Wait, on other interesting notes, I've killed a deer a year average since I've had my license with my car. Wait, what? Wait, do you kill a deer every year on average since you've gotten your license with a car? Do you live in like the fucking boonies or something? That you're like, just getting deer. Man, deers are dumb though. I do get the fact that deers are like, kill me, please, end my suffering, etc. We have so many deer in our town though, just like floating around. You're like, what the fuck? Why are you here? You know, I don't like it. Makes sense. We're probably like in their home or something. Horrible. All right, let us do like the first couple things. Well, we gotta grab this. We'll grab this. Get this. This. Do we have enough to get all the things? We do! Look at that! Easy breezy. Claim. Another 60. That's nice to have. We're good. We've done that weekly thing. And now we must go and do the thing that's going to go away in 9 hours. Ha! We probably want to complete this. But I'll do a couple just because. Ice team and physical. Damn you! I feel like my stronger team is... I guess it doesn't matter because it's so low. This team and...
Lone Syndicate said also GRINN, don't forget today's the last day for Shiyu.
Yes. It's weird. I thought yesterday would be tomorrow, like would be a day that we could do it as well, but I guess not. I'll make sure to do it by tonight. Also, Raid says, I'm just waiting for 1.4 for Nabi release. I mean, I'm probably going to build him anyways if he's free. That's true. Might get
Raid
engine.
Nate said, damn, look at GRINN actually doing his ZZ stuff. Finally.
Fuck you. I do it. I just don't do it on stream. Because it's sometimes depressing and it's a lot of me just chopping down trees. It's boring. It's a lot. It's like just mountains of health. Huh. Wow. Nog says, a deer a year average since I was 17. So do you eat them at least? Or you just fuck them up? How's your car okay? All with my car. Jesus. Also, Grin, don't forget to do the day thing. I've had a deer spin mid jump at me, and had a deer jump between me and a semi. I was tailgating the fuck out of like half a car. Like, damn, why are you tailgating the semi? Raid says, damn, look at Grin doing his dailies. Lol, I'm just messing. No, I know. I'm just like, hey. There's a reason, okay? I do it. It's just...
Lone Syndicate said, I also currently working on a lighter drawing, being the first male character I've drawing almost 5
Holy
years
shit,
now.
Is he gonna be giga jacked, or are you gonna put him on with his jacket? Let's see. What do we do? I'm trying to think of what the best combo, because I felt like when I was transitioning with lighter, I couldn't... Maybe I just forgot to go to Sukaku, so maybe I need to not go left, I need to go right. So left, cycle back to... No, I don't think it lets you. Maybe. We start the match by cycling back. We start with lighter. We cycle to Ellen, build up stacks. And then I hit left again to go to Sukaku. And then I can go back to Hugh, or I can go forward to him. It's a little odd. A little abnormal. That was my Discord, by the way. Whatever happened, it was me. Note this. And then we have our classic team. Yes. No, wait, what? 1? No, shit. Stop. 1. Nope. 1, 2. There we go. Deploy. Good stuff, I think. Yes. Should be fine. Go. With his jacket on. You don't want to fucking draw him like a back profile where he's giga jacked. I don't think it's as gay if you draw it from the back, I'll be honest. Like his back fucking shredded, his shoulders, fucking neck thing, that looking crazy. Now if you're drawing him tits up, it looks a little rough. That's like the event we have going on right now. It's a little bit much. But I think like the back of a dude is some of the most fucking fire warrior shit you can draw. No homo. Except, I seen an NBA player get fucking lit up or some shit for saying that. And I just was like, come on, man. He's from my generation, probably. People out here saying, pause. Back in my day, we said that. Because we're all terrified of homosexuality. Anyways.
Lone Syndicate said, ooh, I get to see Grinn's Piper in action.
Piper is probably my weakest link, buddy. I'm going to disappoint you real quick, okay? Piper is barely Piper with me. She is just a vessel to shred anomaly stuff. Go with you. I'm not gonna... Yeah, these guys are gonna die in 2 seconds. Hop hop! Switch to you. Do your thing! We'll switch to you to give her damage bonus. Blah, 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 blah. And then we're good. Now we got the damage bonus and we're ready to eat. We're eating good.
Get lost. Get back.
Round and round. Oh wait. God damn it, my ice.
Miss Fluffican said, having been there for the Ian is back debacle, I can definitely say bats can somehow be sexy.
Woo!
Lone Syndicate said, I find lighter more cool with the jacket on.
That is true. I agree with that. Hop, 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 and pop. I just remember seeing, I think it was one of the one drawings I was talking to Lone about way back in the day, where basically it was just a drawing of like, clearly like this artist that I was watching, or like on Art Station, essentially. He was like, it was one of his old pictures, but it was one he was trying to do like anatomy. And it was just fire. It was like a drawing of a dude who's like a warrior who's like wrapping garb around his hands. And it was just a profile from him from the back, so you just see like a normal hairstyle, cut on the sides kind of thing. And it was just a profile from his back, but like you could see all the fucking muscle tendons and shit, and you're like, damn, that boy gonna cook. That boy gonna cut someone in half with a punch. It looked badass. Also, I don't know why it disconnected there. Hopefully my stream is still going. I haven't did it in his back debacle. I can definitely say back can be somewhat harder. I find lighter more cool with the jacket. Yeah.
Loring Fetus said you're still live.
You're still alive. Thank you. Thank you. All right, this is my other team. How do I play this again? This. We need to get that shield going. We need to switch to you, and we're just gonna burn that right now. Do 20 some damage.
Although I do want to practice drawing muscles one day, that will probably be the next thing I hard focus on.
That'd be awesome. That would be so fire, Lone. I can't wait to see what that looks like. That's gonna be so cool.
painless.
I don't know why. I feel like Jane Doha's gameplay has kind of not bad. Just I don't know. It's kind of aged a little out of my enjoying it so much. It's not bad. I don't know why. I think it's because it's just such a slow, like, you're constantly trying to. God damn you! I can't switch. Isn't it fun that they don't pause the game for you when it's doing this? They're just like, fuck it. Let's just have you take like absurd damage the whole time. This is great. I'm having a fun time. I have such a fun time, gang. Ah! Ooh, we're back.
Okay.
Now that we lost half the time. Great. Isn't that fun? Hurry up and get over here, like, yeah, I can't believe they didn't pause the game. What a stupid, dumb thing. Fucking do that, please.
You're the prey. No escape.
Hurry up and die! You're gonna rob me of S rank, you son of a bitch. There. Jeez Louise. Ha, ba ba da ba ba.
Lone Syndicate said also, Grin, although I like Piper, I do feel like you should have focus on build another character since you already had Jane built.
No, I know. Yeah, I know. I probably agree. It would probably be a better choice. Reconnect, please. It won't even let me move my joystick. Great. I agree. Yeah, looking back on it, it probably would have been a better idea for me to not build Piper and probably just stick with Seth. In fact, Seth, I'm probably going to have to build out if I do like Haramasa quite a bit. Gang, we might transition to talking about stories, because for whatever reason, my internet's like, best we can do is nothing. Nothing, actually. Nog says, have some giga-jacked All Might character running around. Well, see, that's the thing. I kind of push back a little bit, Nog. I do think there's, like, Gym Bro buff, which is just, like wrestler buff, essentially. Like, big fuck-off muscles, tits, massive, pecs, maybe, I should say massive. Shoulders crazy, back disgusting, and then there's like Hugh Jackman level of like it's buff, but it's not like drop. I dropped, but we're back. But I killed the game and it worked. It can't, yeah.
Lone Syndicate said we back.
Did YouTube fucking pin? No, okay, YouTube good. It connected again, thank God. YouTube had such a bad problem with always like dying before I could reconnect. Okay, it's back. It did drop though. You were correct, Don. Can you say in the chat, Lone reset? It's back. Oh yeah, yes, you say we back, so people would be like, okay, something's wrong with me. I gotta refresh. I think people got that. Okay, yeah, let's not fuck with that. I mean, it still might drop because it's snowing really hard in Canada right now, at least where I live. So, yes. Would not be shocked if that's the case. Does anyone have any gameplay we could throw up that's like maybe something fun that's new?
Gnawing Fetus said okay. Last I heard was Hugh Jackman buff.
Yeah, I was sorry. I was about to say, yeah, my whole thing was like there's like bodybuilder gross buff, which I find is like too much. And then there is the like, to me, the right amount of like buff, where Hugh Jackman is like, to me, he's pretty wide shoulders. He's got a V going on. Hourglass figure shape.
How about Lone's gameplay?
Unlocked. We've watched. What do you call it? We've watched that 3 times already. So that's why I was kind of like, maybe we should watch something else. But we could keep watching it. I just feel like people probably were like, could we look at something else, like a Avowed or something like that could spark conversation, etc. You know. But we could keep that up. Why not? Doesn't really matter because we're rambling anyway. Is it gonna drop again, gang? Okay, no, it is. But we're going 2 FP. 2.
Lone Syndicate said I can send the gameplay of my tower runs.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that could be cool too. We could check that out. Yeah. Yeah, guys, the stream might be being a little unstable because I noticed it's kind of like it's jumping around. So it might be a shorter stream today. Because yeah, I don't want to be like a bitrate 0 kind of thing. But what I did want to do is talk to you guys about some story stuff. But before we get into my nonsense, Bolty also wanted to share us with a part of his story. So Bolty, what thing do you want us to read? So like, to give me, like, I think you uploaded like bios for your characters and like short stories of what they kind of have gone through given their sin, because that's a part of your story. What sin do you want me to read? I'll only do one because I'm just not very good at like long-winded reading, and I'm kind of terrified to do this on stream because like the longer a sentence goes on, the longer I start to go fuck. I can't see it properly. It's starting to get blurry.
Said WOA. Been a minute since I've seen 480p.
Sorry. I think it's fighting for its life. We could try to force 1080p.
McFluffikins said Marvel Rivals is ramping up for its release, and just announced Squirrel Girl. The roster is pretty much like Marvel Ultimate Alliance or Marvel vs. Capcom, but as a competent Overwatch competitor.
Squirrel Girl?
Lone Syndicate said I sent
Perfect.
it.
Squirrel Girl? Who is that? Character sheet gluttony last time. Gotcha. Let me pull it up. Should I show it? I guess I could show it. It doesn't really... I don't think it'd be that bad to show it. Let's pause that. Let's open up Discord. There it is. Oh, my Discord's even chugging. That's not good. My Discord's like, tell me! Stop! There we go. This... I think it's that thread one. Yes. Gluttony. Alright. Let's get to reading.
McFluffican said Squirrel Girl is a comic relief sort of character that commands.
Okay.
Squirrels, and I think she's even defeated Thanos in one of the sillier comics.
What? Like a Rick and Morty thing where squirrels are like have all the power in the world? It's pretty short. Yeah, no, it shouldn't be too long. It's less about that. It's more about like, this is your story. Can I convey it in such a way that doesn't butcher it? It's like, ooh. All right, here's some story time with Grin. We used to talk about VTubers. Now we just read stories that we write. Okay. So once again, this is just Bolty's kind of backstory for his characters and the systems that he's introducing. So it's kind of not meant to give you too much. It's just kind of meant to give you insight into a character that's something that he wants to do something with, so on and so forth. That whole thing. This is the sin of gluttony. This is also part of his story. It's going to tap into like the 7 deadly sins and isekai and things like that, if I'm not mistaken. So yes, gluttony. Wholesome family dynamic. Mom packed his lunch for a kid's scouting trip. Before the trip, he is instructed to go to his grandma's after his trip finishes. Since the family won't be home for work reasons. But it happens... Boy is happy to go with his friends and boasts about Mom packing him lunch. During the trip, they are allowed to explore freely and even build their own camp, just like in survival situations. However, an attendant list is being kept and monitored by the camp authorities. The list is filled with the first attendance meeting in which all camp members have reported themselves. The two boys were not present and went exploring instead. I'm curious about this part. So I think this is just like in the story you'll probably weave this together of like, it's just weird that they were on the bus and no one was like, where are they in the camp meetings? And they were just like, fuck them kids, instead of like, well, we'll write them down because they were on the bus. Maybe there's like, you could like tell the story of like a very like the guy who is a part of the camp trip is so stressed and so fucking tired and all that stuff. That makes sense. Okay. Again, this is just the outline of what Bolty will create. Bolty will maybe go in 1,000 different ways, but that's something I noticed about like, oh, this all makes sense except for that bit. I'm like, how is that going to happen? I feel like it's going to be hard to sell a little bit. But anyways, the secret base is something these two boys always dream about. Also, did I read the wrong one, Bolty? It is Greed, right? I just want to, yeah. No, it's...
Lone Syndicate said, side note, Grin, your reserve battery in Z's is almost full, so be careful not to leave it at the cap.
Oh, okay, yeah, I did. I forgot about that tire. Thank you for telling me that, Lone. All right,
Bolty said, didn't mean to read the whole backstory, Sync E. You already did that yourself.
Oh, so what do you want me to do then? Pretty short. You can also read the style/basic part. There was a basic part? What do you mean? Just wanted to show you the character sheet. Oh, so this is the backstory sheet, and there's another sheet that I wanted to show me? Okay, character sheet, okay. Gluttony. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so there's a character. This is the character sheet, I guess, for Bolty's story. This is not the backstory of his story. I feel like that's much more fun to explore. But anyways, maybe not. Let's just do this one. Anyways, this is the backstory sheet of his character's like powers and scaling and stuff like that. Actually, that's pretty fun to think about and talk about. These notes only declare the base of his character. Gotcha. So his skill that Gluttony is going to have is reincarnated protagonist. Every protagonist gets this.
Gnawing Fetus said it's the second tab, where it says character sheet in Discord.
Got it. I found my way there. I'm slow, but I got there. What do you call it? So every protagonist has this. What does it do? It's ways to improve their power status and gain new skills. Gotcha. So it's the ability. It's like growth. Okay, gotcha. At least that's what it seems like, growth. Sin of Gluttony. This is the skill. It's a unique skill. Evolvable could start with lesser title and changes impact of effect. Okay, so it's, well, does that mean it starts as Gluttony or Sin of Gluttony? And it can change into like Gluttony of Hunger or Gluttony of Death or something like that, or Gluttony of Envy, whatever it could be? Or does that mean it starts off as like Hunger and then will eventually become a Gluttony? TTS is lagging a little bit. Yeah, it would kind of. It's also like it's got a ping to a server, so like it has all the right to be a little bit like because it's a lot. It's like doing a lot of weird shit. Anyways, survival instinct. The user body moves automatically to secure survivable during. Oh yeah, so this is the initial thing that Bolty also talked to us about survival
Bolty
instinct.
said in basics style the thing is a bit more explained, and at the very beginning of the story part there is an introduction with some base plot explanations.
Bolty, you're not. I don't know what you want from me. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to read. You say basic? Where is it? Where's basic? I feel like treat me like I'm a caveman, because like I think you're like, oh, do this, and I'm like, I have no idea what 80% of that is. Okay, well, basic. Like, am I in the right tab at least, or is it in a different tab? There's two things here, two threads. I think I'm in the right thread, and you want me to read the basic. In basic/style, the thing is a bit more explained. At the very beginning of the story part, there is an introduction with some base plot explanations. So in other story tab, there is a short introduction. Yeah, the character sheet. I'm just going to continue to read this. This is what we're doing. I'm not sure if you want me to. I thought maybe are you saying that I could go back to the story thing and that will give me backstory, or are you saying that there's something in here that will eventually tell me his like a quick abbreviation of his backstory? I feel like you're giving me like tiny bits of information and I don't know which is connected to what. But let me just continue with this until maybe you use T2S or you explain a little bit further. But yes. So yeah, again, this is the survival instinct that Bolty talked about how your body moves by itself, which is pretty neat. You were just explaining connections, right, Bolty? Okay. I'm not sure if maybe I misunderstood something based on what Nong said. Maybe I didn't understand that was attached to anything. That's kind of my whole point, though, is I don't know what. It's easy when we're like, we'll talk about this instead of like maybe being like, okay, but what about this thing? And then it makes me have to like reorient and not know where we're going. Lost make me fall. Lost now too. Lost makes me feel lost now too. In chat here, I don't know what the problem is. No, I was reading. So I was reading this out, and then I read your T2S that said in basic/style.
McFlufferkin said, to be fair, Ol Aunt May has also defeated Galactus that one time. The writers gets a bit quirky at night.
I'm so confused. What's going on? Yeah, I the reason why I didn't know, it sounded like I was not in the right thing, because you said in basic/style, the thing is a bit more explained, and at the very beginning of the story part, there is an introduction with some base plot explanations. Okay, so I guess I took that as like, if anyone wanted, I took that as like, oh, go there and read basic style to get the introduction, and you just were saying that like if anybody else wants more info, you can go there, perhaps. Okay. That maybe makes. I hope that's right. I hope that makes more sense. I just thought like you were telling me to go to another area to like talk about the backstory. Yeah, let's just get back to reading this. Anyways, gluttony again, survival instinct, godly objective, do whatever you want. I like that. That's fun. That's fun where it's not like some sort of great ambition type thing. I wonder though if sorry, when I read this, it makes me think of like, well, why was God so willing to just say like, fuck it, do whatever you want? It almost makes me feel like there could be an opening where God was picked people who were suffering, or maybe it's the nature of gluttony that has like a sin that compels you to do evil, so that he doesn't need to give you an objective besides do what you want, because this thing will all like push you in that direction anyway. Because why would somebody give you a sin that has some baggage and choose people that have hard lives or have the thing like that? Or maybe they're just reincarnated and they happen to fall into this weird category. Maybe he God reincarnates like 10,000, and then some of those people happen to like their body and trauma perfectly lines up with this skill. I'm not sure, but that's my thoughts when reading your story a little bit. And what that could be. The God simply doesn't care about what your well-being or about what you do. Her desire is to watch you act on your own accord and enjoy the show. Okay, so it does sound like the God is like, but the question I'm wondering though is, because I know that some of your story, like the backstory, is that like you've made it so that the character's trauma is directly connected to their skill. So does that mean like this God, who's a lady, it seems like, picked out someone who would basically make for like the most fucked up show of it all? Maybe, but definitely not a good God. This one also feels like it's, I guess when you're writing a story, again, this doesn't explain like how the story is going to be weaved. So you could weave in the story about being like, okay, she's a very sinister person that specifically gets people who are traumatic and are going to have a massive effect on the world for better or worse. That's interesting. Someone who is gluttonous just takes what he wants and doesn't think twice about whether it's right or wrong. I don't like that a lot. I don't want to, like, based on that description of a character, I'm like, I don't really want to keep reading what is going on. I don't know. It's basically like, I'm an asshole who's going to fuck up everybody and make their life miserable. And I'm like, I don't want to read the story. But I imagine there's reasons for him being this way, etc. But on a surface level, like, and I only have limited information, so I'm almost crippled by that. And my imagination tries to fill in a blank, which I think happens with a lot of people. Y'all all good. Explained it in other tabs. Gotcha. No, honestly, I'll be honest. I'm doing this for me at this point. You guys could leave and I'd still be here just rambling to myself about what I'm thinking. You guys can enjoy for the ride. Belty could say, do this, and I'm like, I'm doing this right now. This is what I want to do. I'm selfish right now. We're going with that. The process of evolution of a sin/trait. Our MC is its own. Sorry, our MC is on his own. Degrading. Am I reading that right? Degradation of his mental state. Has to be overcome by the impact of his skill and to control and thought out how the sin trait chooses manifest depend. Okay, yeah, so that explains what I was asking. Okay, so the sin trait, same thing, manifests from your past trauma, etc. It makes me wonder the story about the God, though. As a reader, if I was reading this, I would be wondering, like, what's the God's whole MO here? Why is she letting them do whatever they want? And maybe, I think it'd be a lot of fun if you made her like very virtuous with like a sinister smile hiding behind everything. That could be fun. Because if you make it too obvious about like she's clearly like picked out these traumatic people and threw them in a world just to see the chaos, that'd be much more fun, I think, if she was hidden behind like a wholesome smile was this fucked up nature. Granted, that's been done a little bit too much, but yeah. Anyways, I like that. End of gluttony sheet. Gotcha. Greed sheet's next. Okay, so this is the main character, I think, or like one of the probably like the protagonist I think you've introduced the most. Maybe you've changed like the main protagonist aspect of it. But we got a sin of gluttony that will evolve and change given its titles. I'm curious how that's going to affect itself. Yeah, Boldy, now that I have your story here in this character, I want to ask some questions selfishly for me. So they all like their past trauma induces a skill that's unique to them. In this case, the main character has gluttony, and his natural inborn trait is survival instinct, which has his body instinctively moved to act in the interest of his survival. But the sin of gluttony, how is that playing out? Is it called gluttony, or is it called sin of gluttony, and then is it like a skill tree?
Balti said the past trauma is actually just coincidence.
I call bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was a really toxic way to respond to that. That's one of the things that in writing people always, I hate it a lot too, which is like, this all just happened. And I'm like, But that's not, like, people talk about, like, it's okay for the real world to have those moments where, like, things are just random. Like you, like a wife that was loyal to her husband cuts his head off. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? Like, this like lovely lady just has a psychotic break and like does this. Life is random in that sense because there can be like mental delusion. There can be them taking like pharmaceutical drugs that cause this to happen. But it's so crazy that people can accept that. But in a story, people don't want that. I don't think people tend to be like, I don't like coincidence. It like bothers me. It's almost like plot armor. It feels like that. Like it's always nice, or at least to me, and I think a lot of people when there's like a reason to back it up. So it's just a coincidence that he got the gluttony skill. I mean, am I reading that right? The past trauma is actually just a coincidence. Oh, so the past trauma is. But wouldn't the past trauma facilitate the fact that the skill is given to them? Or is it just this god who's just an asshole who's like... The part where I wrote the skills choose to manifest depending on the user's entirely should be an implication that he subconsciously chose how it will manifest. That's complicated a little bit. Okay. Trying to wrap my head around that. The part where I wrote the skills choose to manifest. Okay, so everyone gets like energy or some sort of thing, a sin, and then through the main character's like subconscious mind. Yeah, I guess so. The system itself, or whatever the god is in this instance, manifests the word gluttony. So the system basically just perceives this main character's actions and the way he reacts in the sense of gluttony, and then in the sense of how is it so across the board? What is the likelihood that like the system just basically does like gluttony, sin of envy, sin of greed? I guess it's possible if the system is by like a demigod, evil god, then that's the inference or the lens that it would look upon this character, I guess, in the way that it would kind of quantify whatever it manifests. But he says, so it is not known yet what his special skill is. He could be everything the MC thinks what it is. Interesting. So that I'm a little bit confused on how it's functioning a little bit. My biggest question when reading your character sheet was, what is gluttony? So sin of gluttony is sin of gluttony, like this part says, evolves to the start with lesser titles and then change. So like, does that mean sin of gluttony based on the actions of the main protagonist can like basically summon a skill variant of gluttony? So it could be like gluttony of hunger, it could be gluttony of rage, gluttony of whatever, and these are different like perks or skills or traits that basically benefit the character in some way and also debilitate the character in some way. Is that what it is? So it feels less like he's the gluttony, a character that is gluttony itself, and instead he's like fighting on behalf of a monarch of gluttony that's giving him like titles that they had, like a monarch almost. Also, Nong says, I took it more as it does what it wants when he wants. Consequences be damned. Chaotic / neutral, not evil. Yeah, I know. I just feel like the reason why I brought that up with the whole this thing, someone who does whatever he wants and stuff like that. To me, the thing that came up with mine is it's really hard. It's hard, I think, sometimes for people to like get on board. Like the reason why we like a character is because oftentimes there's something that's fun to watch about them. Now, sometimes, yes, it's fun to watch like the bad guy succeed, or the main character that's so virtuous have to succumb to like a choice that is otherwise evil because his worldview is so small. Like those are interesting things, but it's really hard. My point is that it's really hard to sell like arrogance as something that people want to keep watching, or not arrogance, but like sacrificing others, or no one wants to see someone be an asshole for like 20 chapters. But it's not that it can't happen. It's just that I think it's going to be a challenge for Bolte to kind of write a character that is constantly acting in his own interest. And if he is, I think he has to be like really charming, like a manipulator, not a manipulator, like good at communicating. Like there has to be something that I like about him to make me want to keep watching, besides the fact that he is always acting in his own interest. Like I feel like that's often what happens with like a heroic character, is you take a heroic character, then you make them a little self-serving, and that's enough texture to make him kind of interesting, rather than him just being purely evil or purely virtuous, you know? Well, let me catch up on everything. So it is not known yet what the specific skill is. It could be everything the MC thinks what it is. Greed character sheet is more directed than that. Yeah, pretty confused. I agree. The sin will not be at their strongest version at first, so they will have to manifest at first. Gotcha. So everyone has a sin, and then eventually. So is the skill sin? Like when they arrive, when they ever get isekai, they just have a skill trait that says sin, and then the sin of gluttony then the sin will evolve given what they perceive and how they react to the world. That kind of makes sense. It's kind of like getting a skill tree of some kind, or like a spark of a god, and then you kind of have to nurse that flame, and that flame evolves into something that is in your mental picture, I guess. Yep, pretty confused. So they will have to manifest at first. Okay. So yeah, they get a spark they get a sin spark, and then that eventually evolves into a manifestation of whatever that is. And it just so happens that they have traumatic backstories that kind of give reason, maybe not to why they get the sin, but why they are the way they are, which therefore has a sin. It feels like there's a lot of steps there that are maybe unnecessary. I like the feeling of like the fact that it basically what I'm getting at is like their backstory for me very much feels like things that like lean into the sin that they possess, and then the fact that it's like disconnected from the fact that they got this skill from this goddess. I get, like, to me it almost feels like why have the conflict of it just not leading one to one. Maybe you're trying to do like a story that you're trying to say like it's not that. It just seems like maybe we're trying to say it's not that this backstory isn't the reason why they got the skill, but it is the reason why they are, which is why they got the skill, or why they manifest the skill in the way that it is. But to me, that just feels quite like it's like 4 beats opposed to just 2, which might confuse your reader a little bit. But maybe I'm just also like I like simplicity, maybe, or not simplicity, but I like to have things like 1, 2, boom, not like 1, 2, 4, 5, and then connect. Which again, I think there are people who really enjoy stories that are a lot more. Flow a lot more, I guess. Unless I misunderstand that. The sin will not be the strongest version at first. So yeah, it starts off weak and then gets better. So they will.
Malty said, "I like how you described it, and I think it fits."
Okay. So they will have to manifest it first. That's why I have evolve of this sin trait. Yeah, no, I love that part. I love like the thing that I really do dig about all the character sheets. I dig the unique skill traits. I do wish there was a value for why they exist. Like I don't like the idea. Of like you just inherently have a random skill. I like the idea of like there's something in your past that has resulted in you having this. Maybe like survival instinct. Maybe that's like maybe they do have that, but gluttony is a different thing introduced entirely. But yeah, what do you call it? I love the idea of evolution skills. I think that's like one of the funner things. But like a skill starts off bad, but I also wonder. I guess I was about to say, if you have too many characters, basically. So, like, I was gonna say, is the sin of gluttony gonna branch off and have like other skills, like we talked about, or is it just gonna be like sin of gluttony gives extra XP when eating an abundance of food or something, and then eventually it evolves into like, if you kill an enemy and consume their flesh, you get there's like a 0.1% chance that you attain their skill. Or like a skill from them, and then it evolves again, so the skill just keeps getting more and more and more monstrous as you level it up. And then my thought was, well, wouldn't it also be fun just to have like that sin of gluttony act as a monarch to kind of like bestow upon its wielder all of its traits and talents and passives. But the problem with that is that you have so many characters that I feel like the viewer is going to be like, oh fuck, this is hard to manage. So maybe you probably thought about that, but maybe that is why you should just keep it to like it's just one skill that kind of gets denser and thicker and more powerful as time goes on, rather than just showering one character with a ton of skills or too much to manage, which makes sense, especially considering again you have like 6 other characters for different sins, right? Something lesser sin of gluttony, and then it will be more advanced later on. I like the way you described it. It fits. Okay, perfect. I like it, Bulty. I like it a lot. The only thing that stood out to me I have a tendency to to like I feel like I sound more critical than I do. I love all of this. Like I enjoy all of this. I like the backstory. I like I wish I could actually. Part of me wishes I would have read the backstory. I feel like that was really fun. It made people like understand the character a little bit. The skills are fun to think about too.
Bolty said other skills will be available with the skill Reincarnated Protagonist later on, but this is only the base character sheet.
Okay.
So any other skills are not shown there that are not connected.
That makes sense. I feel like, again, having so many main characters and stuff like that might be a little bit heavy, but I guess this is your main character, and then these other people are also just people who also have these effects. Makes sense. Yeah, the only thing that I find interesting is this one. The like gluttony acting in takes what he wants and doesn't think twice about it. You have to make the reader, I think, like root for this person. Again, this may not be the case. There's some people who love like the character where the evil guy wins. Or not the evil guy wins, but the self-interested manipulator, whatever it could be. Like a person who possesses toxic traits potentially wins out, and that could be refreshing, etc. But I also do think you have to, at least I would try to make people root for this person, and then like basically make it so that without even realizing it, I think it'd be cool if you told a story. Again, you don't have to do this, but it's in my head. If you told a story where there was a person who got isekai'd and then was given this gluttony skill, maybe you're like keeping the information really low. So the story starts as you're like just being born into this world, and then within the first 2 or 3 chapters, or within the first chapter, you see that this character manifests gluttony. And maybe the main character is like really kind to people. Maybe he even saves a person, and stuff like that goes on. And then as that story is being told, the reader is basically like, why did he get the sin of gluttony? Like, I don't understand. Only for like all the cards to finally fall down on the 3rd chapter, where you finally realize this guy wasn't actually being super kind. All of the choices lined up for him being like, I always act in my best interest, and I always try to take as much as humanly possible. And it just so happened that by me helping you, by me doing these things, happened to give me the most amount of game possible, and it just so happened to be that way. And that could be kind of interesting. That could make the reader almost kind of partially connect with the character because he might be kind, and then like love him because he isn't. And that's interesting. That's exciting. Something like that you subvert their readers' expectations, and now they're leaning in. That I think could work. I think that would be a way that you could do it, but I feel like you have to give a reason. You can't start off the main character being like super self-interested, because people are like, this guy's an asshole, and then you're starting off building off of like a negative base, which I don't think as a reader you would like. Again, there are people, it's tough when I say that. It's not that it doesn't work, it's just I think it's harder to make it work. I think most people don't want to see like a story about how the asshole wins. Most people want to see how like the hero gets humbled and then becomes the truer version of a hero. The evil villain finds out that there's the world's has some kindness of it, and then protects that kindness while still being ruthless. So on and so forth. Things like that, I guess. But I love a lot of it, but that's the only thing that I feel like. And again, this is a character sheet that's very limited upon all that stuff, but that's stuff that I think about just knowing like very, 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 very little about your story. But I like it a lot. I'm curious to see how the first couple chapters end up actually pacing out, because you could go a bunch of different ways. And again, one of the things that I think will help me is that you can always, like, you can start your book or chapter being as interesting and as provocative as possible, like that idea of like, you telling very little to the main character or telling little to the reader.
Bolty said, I will definitely watch the VOD later on to fully understand all that you are telling. Thanks.
Sorry, I'm sorry if I'm not. It's also tough because I'm just coming off the thing of like reading information, and then my imagination's like firing off in all the directions it could go, which might be exceptionally unhelpful.
Said gluttony is the sin of excess.
Yeah.
So one could have gluttony and be super kind, aka too kind.
Yeah, no, that would be fun too. My whole point is that like I think it's hard. Like no one wants to watch a story about an asshole, essentially. So like when it says someone who is gluttonous just takes what he wants and doesn't think twice about it. That doesn't think twice about it is where like I feel like it'd be hard to paint that in a picture of like, like paint that in a picture of like with like having it be like a kind person that kind of acts in to always make sure they get theirs, which I think you could do. I just think it's something that Bolty needs to think about, because I think that's going to be the challenge of this story, which is like having fun with like developing the emotional connection with like these sins, but then making characters that are different enough to where people are like that nod in agreement that yes, they should possess this sin, but it's not so boring as like bad guy bad. It has to be something that like, okay, they possess this sin and their personality is something that surprised me, but yet it makes sense why they're like this, even though they have this sin or something like that. Like I think that's what the reader is going to be like kind of interested in and pursuing. But yes. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta use the washroom real bad, but that was awesome, Bolty. I hope I didn't. Again, it's tough because I'm trying to like. I probably should like have moments where I pause and try to like point out the wonderfulness of the story, which I do enjoy. But it's more of like I like, to me, the words that I always appreciated was set me free, don't save me. Sorry, don't kill me with kindness, save me with criticism, so to speak. Which is not always good. It's a terrible thing. You should always make sure you continue to build people up, etc. Which I do really like the story, but those are the two things where I'm like, I feel like that's going to be hard. Like I would find that to be difficult to do. Not that I'm great, but just that's something that I noticed. But ladies and gentlemen, I gotta use the washroom, but then I'll ramble at you probably like really quick about my story. I say really quick. It's never been real quick. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Also, it's gonna fall fucking flat. Did I hit play? Oh, you guys were. Oh, I did. It's just paused. Gotcha. All right, let me slam the rest of my drink and do our. Oh, did it cut out? No, maybe it didn't. I don't know. Oh. Also, I hope it wasn't criticism. I was hoping like these are just things that I think were like are going to be challenges or like basically what I used to read a book that basically described like dead ends. Like if you ever want to succeed or like do well in something, there are like certain things that are roadkill on the road to you getting there. So to me, that was kind of nice to like think about it that way. Where like it's not necessarily criticism so much as like these are points of conflict that I think might give you trouble. So just maybe try to think of ways to overcome them, given that I noticed them. But maybe it's not even going to be a problem, you know. But just the thing that I noticed. Yeah, so on and so forth. We could read the greed stuff too if you'd like. I feel like I don't want to. How do I put it? I don't want to like overload people a little bit too much with stuff like that. But I like that we did it, but I think we should like. I'd much rather just like chip away at it at the end of every stream on Sunday to kind of just do it, but not like go through like 20-40 minutes of this. Cause I think it might be a little bit hard for people, including like myself, to just continue to chew that out. That's why I was when you told me to like, oh, I want you to read this instead. I was like, oh shit, okay, you know what I mean. So it's hard for it's hard for me to like not only continue down that whole pathway. I find maybe I got better as I was reading a little bit, but that's why I was kind of surprised when you said go to the character sheet, because I thought the backstory was something that I thought people would. I think people can like connect more with like the story and the overall premise, and I think people also play with the skills too. So I shouldn't say that didn't work, but yeah. Gnawing says honest criticism is always good. Shitting on stuff just to shit on is yeah. Again, I hope that's not where I sounded like. Bolty says better that way. I was just thinking to get through it as fast as possible to know. No, I would much rather like. I think it's better to approach this slowly, each increment of the story, and have fun with unraveling it rather than like slogging through it, especially every week. Maybe one week I have like shitty insight and I'm like, I disagree with what I said the previous week and I can like redeem myself rather than being like, I said a lot in that hour. It's just a mess. Man, I don't even know if I want to fucking talk about my story. I'm it's just, I don't know. I find it, I'm not like, I'm in a very like black mood right now. So I'm not the best version of myself right now. Forgive me. what do you call it? The last thing that I told you about my story and stuff like that, the only thing that I thought would be interesting to tell you guys about, that I thought was a fun little thing, was basically I wanted, like, the point of a story is to have momentary points of either conflict or some, like, reason why you follow the story to begin with, you know? Conflict, people argue, is a big reason why people read stories, which I do understand. I do think that's powerful. Like something that the main character has to overcome, or something that is like a danger that they need to find a way forward past. There's a lot of like scientific reasons why this might be the case, because the reason why stories are popular and they matter is because they're basically like us trying to simulate possible dangers that can save us from, given we understand the solutions that we could deploy in those scenarios. Anyways. So, one of the things that I like messing around with is like really leaning into the fact that like in this world there's monsters that are terrifying. Even though you're in a kingdom of peace, your life can still be upended, stuff like that.
Gnawing Fetus said, "Yay, more GRINN story time."
I'm not sure if I'm gonna do the best. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to convey myself the best. But here's my best shot. Okay, so basically, also Gnawing. Before I get too ahead of myself, there was a little while ago, where you read through my story, and you said specifically like 3 things that I needed to improve, and I wanted to ask you what those were. Not 3 things, but like there was something there, like where I tried to ask. I've been doing this thing recently, which I would highly suggest if anyone wants to have like a fun thing to do. I've actually started using not ChatGPT, but the one that's free on Windows. I basically was trying to figure out what I should do and what I could improve upon. So I thought I'd ask ChatGPT basically to, like, if you were to pretend to be my teacher for a moment, this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to improve at storytelling, and I would like to get better at using dialogue, where I pass dialogue back and forth between 2 people without having to say Tom said blank. Copilot, yeah. Tom said blank. Jane said blank. You know, I'd rather have this flow that I see certain authors be able to do. And I basically asked ChatGPT, could you basically tell me what that is, like what are those techniques, and also give me like a worksheet or like a prompt for me to start writing to deploy some of those things that you just gave me. Basically, and I try to do that every morning now. And I'm going to start with doing dialogue improvement, and then try to improve upon the thing that Gnawing said, which I don't remember what that was, but I think you were basically trying to say, like, you used a word for it, which I think I could tell ChatGPT and it would immediately know what I was trying to refer to, but it was basically like the form. It wasn't just punctuation, it was like the way the things are laid out, like the actual lens in which things are being said for. It wasn't like the third person view or the first person view. I don't know if it was grammar either, although I think that was something else you said I should improve upon, which I agree with. But it was some other thing of like the way you map out everything. I can't forget what it was. Not grammar, not paragraph. Yeah, I can't think of what it was. Mainly structure. That's what it was. Structure. Okay, that's what it was. Structure was the thing that I wanted to try to improve upon, and ask ChatGPT how would I give my story better structure. Like, so I feel like I end up like I have one lens that I'm pretty okay at, or not pretty okay at. I have the most experience at, which is not that much, but still something. Which is the perspective of the main character, kind of going through his thought process and being him. But I need to have other forms of structure, whether it's like talking about a scene in a living room as the parents and him the parents are talking about their strange child or something like that, right? Anyways, thank you. That's what I was looking for. The thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is the part in my story where I hate to do this, but it's always such a mess. But again, person gets this explosive skill tree, gets born into a baby's body, all that stuff, grinds out, becomes stronger, all that stuff. We time jump to his parents, to the boy basically having a bunch of insight, having like tried or like done stuff in his adolescence, trained. There's moments where he basically picks up a snowball, packs it into a ball, and then throws it at a tree. And at this point, he's found out things. I'll say there's a lot of things, but I don't want to be drawn onto too many things at once. Basically, he throws his snowball at a tree. It doesn't explode. He makes a bigger snowball, throws it. Not explode, sorry. It doesn't like do any damage because he keeps getting this perk that basically increases his like AoE damage and stuff like that. So he basically tries to math out how big the explosion radius needs to be in order for it to be considered splash damage. and that's which his skill is benefiting from. So he does this by having the insight of making a snowball and throwing it at a tree, and then he notices that him throwing that snowball actually tore off the bark off the tree when eventually he got to a certain size. So he can deduce that this is the amount of size that I need to have at a base in order for me to do that stuff. Anyways, moments like this that I think would be fun to kind of have for a couple chapters where he kind of is making these inferences, and his parents are kind of in the background like, what's with our kid? Our kid's weird. But he also seems really supportive and nice, and he's complimentary a lot and all that stuff. Anyways, so that's like the second arc. This is also where he meets the Forge Maiden. Let me pull back one layer, if you would have me allow me to do that. So again, that's the kind of like adolescent arc. Eventually, this thing happens where the Forge Maiden has to be put away, like shipped away essentially, because this thing happens. But then eventually the arc that I'm the most excited for, and this is the thing that I want to like stress, that it's kind of frustrating me a little bit, where like I am way more interested in the second arc than the first arc, and it's fucking annoying. But alas, the second arc is where I meet my favorite character at this point. It's the Orc Girl, and I fucking love her. Like, she's such a fun character to play with and mess around with, and the fact that you're messing with like the tribal settings of a weird culture that's like Orc culture and all this shit, the fact that she's like such a inverse of what you might assume that character to kind of be, not like a brooding Orc girl that's like fucking like a toxic man, but instead like a goofy, funny, playful, teasing kind of character, all that stuff. And again, I like inverses quite a bit, so I have it set up to where, oh, do I want to tell you guys about that shit? I'm so sorry. I know it's going to be a mess, but here it is. One of the things that the main character gravitates to in the story is the only advantage that his one skill can kind of give him, which is basically pricking like rune magic. So he has all the world's knowledge, so he basically is trying to find some edge in this world that could give him an advantage. So he ends up finding like a lost civilization that once existed on the planet that long since died, and all the stuff that they taught was considered general knowledge, which is basically rune magic. So like badass Norse runes and shit, stuff on cave walls. That's the main character's like edge in this world. That's how he's able to make like kind of crazy grenades. That's why he's able to kind of like do weird shit to his body. I also have the hope and ambition that he is covered in fucking these badass like runic marks all over his body. I think that'd be fun. Maybe like way down the line, but I digress. One of the things that he first understands, and one of the like power gains that he gets and he realizes, is that the church in this world is like seen as like nobility above all. So like they're the church that basically supports nobility and royalty, and if you have people in high places, you can get like your status card read, which is said to be like very posh and very like hard to do. But the main character basically finds a rune as a baby, or not as a baby, but like as a young kid. He finds this rune that basically allows you to draw this rune on a piece of paper, prick your finger, and it basically gives you a status screen or a status thing. I got the idea is very similar to Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, where Belle Crenelle basically that's how they basically read their statuses. They put a piece of paper, they do a little bit of magic, and they pull out the paper and it tells you what's going on. So I have the same premise from that, except for this, it's just a rune, and then you prick your finger, and then it tells you your status. The main character basically infers that there's a lot of like things that you can do. It's kind of like I try not to have too many gamey things in the game. Like by gamey, I mean like the main character randomly has like a status screen that pops up, and he uses that shit. I wanted to stay away from that, so I like the idea of it being like on a piece of paper. It's one and done, that kind of thing. Anyways, but the reason why that's relevant is because the main character already has his intrinsic skill tree, and something that I told the reader very early on in the beginning chapters was that like how skill trees work essentially, and one of the ways skill trees work is basically unknown. And it's only like a certain amount of population ends up getting them. It's kind of up in the air when you get them. Some people say that like when you reach 10, you usually are able to get a skill tree, which is something I've seen in other fantasy stories, so I like to pull from that a little bit. But the main character basically realizes that with this rune mark, he can actually so there's a moment where he meets the Orc Girl, they become friends, they start helping each other out. She tells him about this tower and all that stuff, and they ends up pricking her finger, and he's just curious to see what her status is, because he notices that she's really strong. And he's curious about like orc stuff and to see if this rune will also work for her. But to his surprise, he finds out that by seeing her status also tells him information that he hasn't seen before, which is basically like bars filling up. So every human being has a net capacity for a certain skill tree. And the more you do a certain thing, the more you start to build up like affinity towards that thing. And because I like polarization so much, I like the inverse of something. I like the idea of like this badass warg maiden, but instead of her like wielding two giant axes and shit, I like the idea of her being a shielder, like a defender. Kind of very similar if you've seen Dragon Prince, the Netflix show Dragon Prince. There's like an auntie who rocks like a giant fucking shield as her main weapon, and I very much wanted that to be the orc girl. And I also like the idea of like, yeah, an orc that is like a shielder, like a shield maiden more than that. It also plays off the idea of the weird character we made in Dragon's Dogma, stuff like that. Also reach out in a minute. I just wanted to kind of get all this random stuff out. So for me, the main character starts realizing that, and that's a fun arc for the main character to basically unravel. He has this orc girl, then he has this other friend that's in town. And he basically starts to kind of mold them in the way that's best for them. So he finds out that the orc girl has like a bunch of things that she has like the possibility to get. Like if she kills 100 enemies with an axe, she could get like berserker. If he which is like A tier. If she spends like 20 days meditating, she could get monk or some weird shit. I haven't thought of them yet, but it could be anything. But the one that he sees, which is the one that she is, it's basically like shielder, or I haven't come up with a name, but like maybe it's like shield maiden, gladiator, something like what's it called? Valkyrie. It could be Valkyrie, whatever the hell it is. Anyways, but he sees that like she needs to basically take like, I want to give like a stupid number of like, she needs to basically absorb like 10,000 blows before she reaches the age of like 13 or something. And the main character and her basically start drilling just that. And that could be fun. Like that could be a fun arc. And then I want his other friend to have like a different skill tree. But eventually he understands like something is unveiled to like this rune skill that you didn't see because you already have your skill tree. You realize, holy shit, this thing can make the orc girl awesome, or like make other characters awesome. And of course, this knowledge is hidden by like the church and the nobles, etc. And that idea, and I don't want to bog you guys down too much, but that idea eventually morphed into something really fun, which is I want the main character to basically covers a lot of his bases. So he ends up like finding a solution for the fact that he has like his skin is just mortal, so he has like a human body. So he finds out in this mage tower he finds like research that tells you how to make like fucking god tier armor via using your like soul. Like, you know, I kind of have the different thing of like there's mana in this world, and then there's like your soul or your like spirit is what a lot of Amon also call it as. And the spirit is something that like warriors use to make like fucking giga crazy armor, and the main character rationalizes, okay, well I'll just basically take all of my that and do that. I'm kind of bogging it down a little bit. Anyways, the main character basically blocks off like certain routes. So he's like, my build is structured when it comes to that area, my build is structured coming to that area, and my build is structured coming to that area. But he kind of comes to this understanding of like the only thing that I don't have is like recovery. So like I have pretty good DPS, I have pretty good AoE, I have pretty good all the things that you would look like in a build, but the one thing that he doesn't have is a lot of like regeneration. Like what happens when he gets hit. So he ends up going through his like general knowledge. He finds a lot of legends about orcs that were like giga crazy, as far as like getting their arm lopped off and like regenerating their armor in like an hour. Things basically fall into place where he ends up asking his orc friend what's her tribe and what's their deal, and he finds out that they're like we're a once great conqueror. And the long story short is I have this moment which I cannot fucking wait to write or like to talk about or like to do. But basically, he knows that he has to help the orc people out, essentially, in order for him to like gain enough favor with them for them to give any of their past treasures, which are basically like runic scrolls that can help him in this endeavor of like recovery, like regeneration, to make his human body able to recover like a salamander or some shit, which is his only weakness that he kind of can conceive of. Anyways, the reason why I brought up the whole what is it called, the thing that the him being able to like read other people's skill tree and stuff is because as I was writing this thing and I thought, oh, this is fun, he could help out the orc people, there was a moment where I was like, well, it would make sense that like this tribe really does like appreciate him, because he realizes that the orc people, how do I phrase this properly? the orc people are like amazing at conquering. Like they're like amazing battle hungry warriors, but they fucking have zero strategy at all. So that's all he really does. He basically like comes into this like battlefield and basically is like, you guys are great. You just guys have fucking no logic to what you're doing at all. And you're fighting elves, and they're just fucking stomping on you because they have all the strategy and none of the power. So he basically just gives them the strategy. They end up winning. And then they basically offer him 3 wishes, essentially. Like, you can do 3 things, and we'll do our best to make it happen. And to the orc people's surprise, he basically asks for things, because he basically gets what he wants already. Like, the orc grandmother actually has the scrolls that he wants and gives him 3 options as well. He ends up choosing a scroll that essentially is like the vitality scroll for Healthgate, which I wanted to do a better job of explaining to you guys, but I digress. Anyways, so he gets 3 wishes or three like things that the orc generals are willing to do for him, and he basically gives 3 options that are selfless. He says, like, okay, make a canal so that you guys can have sufficient water, because you guys can't keep hunting everything in the area. Then the second thing he says is, okay, teach your young, so like whatever happens, basically teach these kids how to read, write, and all that stuff, because that's going to help you a lot. And then the third thing he says is, let me interview or give guidance to some of the people who have some of the people in the tribe, essentially. And essentially the reason why I like this is because he essentially uses his like the ability to see other people's statuses, and see what they need to do and to achieve in order to get their skill tree. And then he basically goes into the orc, interviews a bunch of the orc tribe, and essentially says, like, okay, you need to start like making pancakes, or you need to start making food right now. And because he's done enough for the tribe, they just kind of let him do that. They kind of agree with him, or they do what he says, essentially. And then this results in like everyone getting their skill trees, the tribe getting stronger. There's no more like need. They're in like the era of abundance. And I have this moment which I thought would be really cool, where the main characters are like, cool, like, yeah, I got what I wanted. I perfected my build to some extent. I got a little more power. Oh no, that's what I also wanted to talk to you guys about. Sorry, let me finish that up. He has this moment of like abundance. They like him, and then he kind of just turns around and walks away. And then there's one thing that clicked in my head that I thought would be so fucking cool. Was basically, as he's turning away and walking away, his orc friend, who he's known for a long time and he's just helped out a ton, has a grandmother that's kind of been like helping him as well. And she basically tells him, like, you stay by his side, watch over him, because every single person in this agreement, or in this tribe and all the other tribes surrounding us, have agreed that whenever he decides, we're basically gonna make him our king, like the orc king, essentially. But then I had a fun idea where I was like, oh, what if he has a habit of this? What if he has a habit of like, oh, these people have what I think I want because of like tribal stuff. Let me go over to there, basically like help them out, and then all of them start to build up like this allegiance to him. And a part of me was like, oh, this is so fun, because it basically leads you to like the story of the Demon King, essentially. So like this story of this person being isekai'd or something like that is weirdly the story of like a wholesome story about how somebody became the Demon King, because that's the one thing that I really want to do with the story. The one thing that's like, if there was ever like a thing that my story is trying to do, I don't want to use the normal fantasy things that I hate so much, or I shouldn't say hate so much. Like, orcs are never talked about in a positive way ever. Imps are always seen as like the stupid nonsense thing all the time. Dark elves are basically treated as like second-class evil fodder for no reason. So those are like the 4 things that I want to have in the story, that I want to talk about, that I want to give value to, give reason to, and all of those things. And that's kind of the idea of like the main character, essentially. And I don't want to spoil the second book, but the second book eventually has him going to this like magic school, in which he meets like a bunch of stuff. But it basically, if I could just spoil my entire story, the first book is like the glow up of him perfecting his skill. The second book is him going into this like magical school, and meeting a lot of important people. And then the third book is him basically like building up his empire, like becoming like a giant king, essentially. Those are like the 3 things that I want the main character to hit. But anyways, the one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, I built up a little bit, I didn't mention, was I'm like frothing at the mouth to tell this scene where he finally is like helping the orcs MacGyver around and like set everything up in a really fun way. and it's really nice in that way. And again, he's telling them like how to defend against like the elves. Strategy and all that stuff, and it's like rudimentary. He's able to do it really easily, but ultimately, there's still like the bad bitch on the other side of the fight, and that ends up being like this elf general who's old as shit and strong as hell. And I want the main character to basically be fighting him, and to basically know that he's on like the precipice of leveling up, of like getting a skill.
Gnawing Fetus said sequels? Take my money, Grin.
Don't say that, Gnawing. Anyways, but he's on the precipice of leveling up, and he's about to get like that capstone skill tree. Not capstone, sorry, like the skill tree, the skill that I talked about, which is the reason why he bought his skill tree in the first place, or wanted his skill tree in the first place, which is basically the Moses like defining skill, which is the fact that if he does get, thanks, Gnawing, you psychopath, thank you for the $10, Gnawing. What do you call it? His defining skill that essentially lets him like have a percentage chance to regenerate mana and a grenade by him doing splash damage. It's like it's the one skill that I straight up just robbed from Borderlands. So he's basically like fighting this elf person, and I have this moment where he's like on like about to fucking get bent completely, but then finally purchases that one skill and just starts making it fucking rain with these grenades, and finally like the orc people see him on the precipice of death, and then finally they're just seeing explosions go off and shit, and they're like, oh fuck, he might be a war god or something like that, just because he keeps rattling shit off. Oh, I can't wait. And then that also enables him to get deeper into the mage tower that he's kind of sitting in. Anyways, but that's the thing that I'm like, oh, I can't wait. But again, I have so much more information about Act 2 than I do about the fucking beginning act, which is ass. And it sucks the way your brain works like that, where you're like, oh, I just fill up the ending part. And I'm like, no, the beginning is the most important, so we can do callbacks on what happens at the end. But anyways, that's a moment that I thought was really fun. And the one thing I was hoping to do with you guys, but I fucked it up. I was hoping to be like, okay, say if you had your armor basically perfected. Say if you did enough damage with your build. Say if you did what do you call it? All that stuff. What would be the one thing that your build would still lack? So let me phrase the question better. If you were playing a video game and you had a great DPS output, you didn't have that much survivability. What do you call it? You had what is like one of the best skills to have if you're just like a DPS character? I'm curious. A survival skill. What is the best survival skill if you have a very selfish DPS skill tree? I'm curious if anyone thinks like me in this stupid dumb thing. Of course, I didn't give you guys the best prompt, like build up. So you're a DPS character.
McFluffican said life steal.
Close. Well, wait. Okay, let me tighten the answer a little bit. Let's say you're a DPS character, and your main issue is vitality. What is the best thing? And let's sweeten the deal a little bit. What if you know that lifesteal exists? So you know lifesteal exists. You built a lot into DPS. What is the one thing that would perfect a build? What he says for example, farming focus speed. Okay. Damage focus on DPS. Nog says, I would get myself a tank and a healer. Vitality, what does it scale off of? One sec. Vitality is basically like your HP or your body's natural capacity to recover.
McFlufferkin said damage absorption, siphoning.
Not quite. For me, and this is maybe where I'm like a loner in it, but if you had a character that had max DPS, like a shit ton of DPS, and you knew lifesteal existed, the only thing that would really matter to you is health gate. Health gate and recovery, essentially. So how low can your health drop before you start seeing weaknesses, and how fast can you tap into health steal to bring your health all the way back up? So the main character is given, he helps the orc tribe out, and then he basically is given 3 scrolls from this old lady, this old granny, sage, etc. She's like, here are these 3 runes that I think you were interested in. I see you drawing them a lot. What do you call it? These are the 3 ones that our tribe cherishes, and they're all about vitality. The first scroll basically gives you an abnormal vitality, which is just health pool. So like gives you like 40% more max health. which he's like, that's pretty interesting. The second scroll lets you basically take your health and transition it into damage. So you can basically be like, take your health and drain your vitality for added strength. And then the third one essentially allows your body to experience more damage to like the razor's wire of your death, and lets you regenerate more, essentially. So it increases your regeneration, and it also basically gives you health gates. So like no matter what happens, you can get really far to the very, like you could be like a skeleton half alive, and your body will still slowly start to fight and recover, given you invest and level up this skill quite a bit. You can start pushing it further and further and further behind, so that you're basically like 100% dead, but your body will still slowly start to recover. So to me, the main thing the main character is he sees that one skill and he sees health gate, essentially, which is the idea that no matter what happens, is like you can basically come back from anything. And I like that idea more because it plays within like the idea of Boom King build, the fact that he could accidentally explode his half of his body, and so long as he has like a ring of lifesteal, his body's slowly gonna start fucking piecing itself back together. And I think would create much more epic battles where the main character's like limbs are fucking blowing off and they're like slowly recovering as he's dealing damage and healing through the ring, kind of similar to Moe's. So that was the one thing that I thought would be good. But your guys' answers are great. Lifesteal is the one thing that a DPS wants, which is the only thing that I'm going to keep kicking down the line to where the main character like knows that's the one thing his build's missing, is like the capacity just to like have any lifesteal ever. And I think it'd be funny for him to like help the Dark Elf tribe in book 2. And for them to give him all of these good options, like, ooh, look at all these amazing things. And his eyes just lock on to this ring that is like a C tier ring, but it gives him like 3% lifesteal on attacks, and he's just like, that one, please. I'll do anything. I think that'd be a fun thing. Although I do hammer that trope like to death in this story, which is like he'll always pick the option that's best for his build, which is often not the highest like tier of whatever that it ends up being. But anyways, I selfishly rambled far too long for there. But that's the thing that I was trying to I want to get all that out. But again, I can't stress enough real quick about how like I could see that moment so awesome, like so vividly, where like he's fighting, he's doing good, but this elf is kicking his ass. The tribe around him is like, fuck, we've messed up. Like no one else can beat him, essentially, and then only for him to like finally get that one skill point in that skill that can hold 5, and then for him to finally just start manipulating the shit out of it, and finally for him to be like, yeah, and the book to kind of end on that, maybe not end, but that to be like the peak before it starts to slow down. But that moment where he's just like, yeah, my one fucking power, and his build starts sequencing finally, and I think that'd be a ton of fun. Yeah, I'm also stuck with the current arc, that being this the time skip and getting isekai part. Yeah. Again, I find that's funny, Bolt, you mentioned that, because I have it. I find that I'm like getting in my head about it. You know, like I find if I just write and I just say fuck it, whatever happens. A part of me wants it to be good. I don't know if it's a good idea to have it be like. Be like super hard on yourself and not just, again, I like the idea that I had beforehand, which is just like get it out on the paper. Just try to tap into the emotions and the callbacks that you were trying to tap into, and like the reasons for things happening, rather than trying to like make it perfect. But it's important to also try to make it good at least, so you don't have so much to fucking redo, you know? It's a hard balance to find. I can only think of realistic. There is no play with the cool isekai world yet. What he says, so basically anything I think of would happen to the story later on, I would be able to implement. Yeah, I see. Hollery, then those 2 types. Hey, holler, then those types. Hey, what's that? What's that mean? So we went city builder for a minute. Yeah. Well, again, to me, I like the idea that the main character basically, like a lot of these, like a lot of this is weird. Like a lot of these anime do like city builder weird shit. And to me, it's weird. Like your tribe has existed and survived this long. Surely they have some understanding of governance. So like, I think you'd only need to like nudge them in the right direction, like kind of see what their fuck up is, and then fix that. And if you did it selflessly, I think that would also help. But again, it's not necessarily selflessly. It's just the main character is like, he's going to see all these underdogs because they have exactly what he wants, which would perfect his build. Also, Raid says, all right, I have to head out. Bye. Thanks for stop by, Raid. I'm sure you are left. I'm sorry. So races will be important and not just your average. Oh, yeah, no. The biggest part of the story, I think, is me having fun with playing with, like, archetypes that no one plays with in fantasy, at least. At least I don't see a lot of. Like, I really enjoyed fucking with the orc tribe and stuff like that. It's like one of my, the Bloodhounds arc, Bolty? The Wolfhound, Bloodhound mono that I suggested you. It's very similar to like the tribal section. Was fun for me. I loved reading that part.
Gnawing Fetus said holier than thou means they think themselves godlier than God, kinda.
What do you call it? That was, let me see. Oh, I see. Oh, holier than thou. Yeah. I was gonna say that was the one thing that was so fun. Also gnawing was how do I phrase it properly? I loved writing a story where elves just get fucked up. Okay, especially knowing that I'm gonna like give a lot of love to the dark elves. But I wrote in the story, or sorry, I shouldn't write. I have it in my head where like the elves are like, the elves have like great PR. Essentially, is the idea where
Volty said tribal girl was peak.
Yeah, peak. Elves have such a notorious thing within like fiction of like being like, we care about the forest and everything is beautiful. And in my story, I want it to be like more like the main character can quickly deduce by like reading a bunch of legends and like past things that they've done that just doesn't line up. Like them loving the forest isn't what they like. That's what they say they want, but it just doesn't make sense. Like all the wars they ever got in were always about one thing, and then he the same reason why he's going to the orc tribe to find like a special item is the same reason why the elves are going for the special item. Maybe it's because we just played Skyrim, and I am like, yeah, fuck these elves, some shit. But to me, it's the same premise of like elves are like viscerally addicted to the pursuit of information and knowledge. So they go after this orc tribe because they basically were like once great conquerors who like took a ton of scrolls, and they were like one of the few tribes that didn't burn the stuff that they looted. So they're trying to basically conquer them so that they can get all their loot. But the main character fucks them up badly because of that. And yeah, that I have fun with like corrupting this thing that is so, but also get like validating why there's like a reason for it possibly. That's fun. Let me see. Is there a failsafe for his ability to build for specific purposes? No, I think that's half the fun of like a build that has like crazy synergy, is that like you're able to see the thing that seemingly works in almost everything, But again, there are instances that like he could get killed in or weaken, Gnawing says tanker healer. Yeah, the tanker and healer thing is fun because the orc girl is kind of making up his tanker thing, and then I think I would rather. I do have an idea for a healer that could exist in the school arc, which I talked to you guys about beforehand. Like I think it'd be awesome to see like a tomboy punk rocker girl with short hair, maybe like white hair, in like a rock and roll skull t-shirt. With like a fucking choker on with spikes and shit, and she's a healer, and she's like a fucking giga crazy healer. Like just kind of push against the idea of like, I'm a little maiden who looks beautiful and a princess, and I heal you. I want it to be like, I'm a badass bitch and I'm gonna pull you back from the brink of death. Okay, I gotta be way fucking cooler. So I think that could be something fun that we could mess with. But I just don't want to have too many like female heroines in this story because it ends up being too bogged down at certain points, And not standing the shit on the ground. I don't get the question. I changed halfway though. It changed halfway though. Damage mitigation. I was trying to basically make it so that you guys could understand. Like I was trying to see if you guys would think the same way. If you had all these things. So I tried to change the question so that it would be a bigger. It'd be it would be easier to guess what I'm thinking, I guess. Gnawing says damage mitigation if I had lifesteal and max HP. Yeah. To me, the thing that I thought would be fun is messing around with like I could do that. I could have messed with like damage mitigation, but the I guess Healthgate is damage mitigation. But to me, I think Healthgate is fun just because it's not only just like giving him more tankiness. It's kind of enabling like a fun story thing where the main character could be like ripped to shreds and still be fighting, and which therefore he could like tap into the value that life still brings more. Whereas most people, like, if you got your heart stabbed out, you die immediately, or your head exploded, you die immediately. Where the main character, if he trains this vitality rune up enough, that will increase his natural vitality in that way and cause it so that he can be like real down there to almost fucking like dead. I'm not sure Deadpool level, but like low on the like shit tons of battle damage and still coming back from the brink of it. I think would be a lot more fun and like have more texture in it when it comes to like describing a fight scene. Gnawing says, Merc the elves, blood for the blood god. Says Gnawing, yeah. Well, not the dark elves though. Dark elves I want to have some fun with. Dark elves I feel like I always get shit on. That's another thing that I kind of wanted to mention a little bit, where Fluff might enjoy this a little bit if Fluff's still here. I think Fluff's still here. But what do you call it? This is one of the few things where I can't describe because it'll be bad. Like it's going to require a fuck ton of explanation, so we're just going to have to accept it. One of the things that I think I might have actually talked about this. Maybe I don't need to describe it too much, but I'm trying to find like one of the things that the main character has to solve for in the future is essentially the idea that okay, I have like near infinite mana, awesome. I don't have a skill tree that's like Great Sage, so I can't tap into like high level magic to use it, which is not great. My like explosive core or like mana core also makes it so that it's just really hard to do like even basic spells. Not great. But I have like basically a bottomless amount of mana. What the fuck do I do with it? So the main character like is trying to look for a skill tree that gives him something, because you can have two skill trees in this world. It's rare, but what do you call it? The main character is trying to find a skill tree in which he can like dump his mana excess in that would be like useful, because he just is constantly having too much, and this is a problem. So he's trying to find that, and one of the things that I was trying to debate of like what did I want to do with his like next skill tree and all that stuff. I don't want to go too much into that because it's just going to be like a lot. But I basically settled on, even though I don't want to double tap this too much, I kind of want to fuck with this, because if the story's idea is to kind of push back against some what is it called? Some like shitty fantasy tropes that I kind of am annoyed with, or I'm disheartened by no one having fun with them. You know what I mean? So essentially, what I enjoyed was the idea of him basically finding like a really low tier skill tree called which basically allows him to summon imps. So like an imp summoner. Just hold out for a minute. I know it sounds not that great, but hold. What do you call it? So he summons the thing. What am I trying to say about that? The reason why I went with imps, which I think is fun, is because I was thinking about all the type of summons that he could possibly have. Like, do I want to do necromancer, which I've always thought was pretty cool. But to me, I'm like, well, why would somebody choose imps? And I kind of told you guys why I chose imps, because I wanted to do kind of like an homage to the game series Overlord. Overlord, that's what it's called. So to me, I was trying to find out, like, okay, well, let's say I know the value proposition for skeletons. So like a necromancer, one of the coolest things that like very few stories tap into, but it's one of the coolest parts about like necromancy, is that they basically have control over an undead body, which doesn't get tired, doesn't get sleepy, his body doesn't get achy, doesn't feel any pain. It will just continue to go. So like a lot of fun stories that really tap into this is really cool, is like battle strategies where they constantly are like attacking the enemy and then running away. So they're forcing them to stay up and like wear out their natural strength. So then by the time they eventually go in, they're just like a broken down bunch of humans and they just get eviscerated. Really fun way of doing summoning. So to me, I thought, that's fun. But I think skeletons, as much as I love skeletons and like necromancy, I think it's been done to death. So I'm like, okay, fuck, what can I do like that's fun? And then I started thinking about the Overlord game. And I thought that's such a fun thing to have like a dungeon in this world, which is basically like a callback to this Overlord, this like once great conquering being. Let's do that. So then I was like, okay, so the main character is going to pick a skill tree that basically can evolve and become stronger over time, similar to Bolty's idea, which is fun. But you have this like basic C tier skill tree that lets him basically summon imps. These tiny little like if you ever played the Darkness, if you ever played Overlord, it's very similar to like these tiny little like gross looking malnourished human, not human, like weird things. Imps, long ass ears, all that. So to me, what was fun about that was trying to find like what would imps, and maybe I should ask a question to you guys, what would imps' speciality be? So to me, having played Overlord a ton, I thought it would be really cool with, okay, imps, the reason why no one like summons imps is because they take up a fuck ton of mana. But the reason why they take up a fuck ton of mana is because imps basically keep their mind essentially through every evolution or every summon. So like skeletons or necromancers, they can summon them, but they're basically just like dumb drones that will just listen to whatever command you give them and they'll sequence it out perfectly, right? So that's their value set. But what if Imp's value set was that basically like through every battle they will learn, you basically keep the soul of the imp. So the imp soul will always come back to you, and then when you summon it again, it will keep that battle strategy. The issue with imps is that they're dumb as shit, and that they take a shit ton of mana to cast, because you're basically having to not only cast them but also store them. So that's just like a massive power drain, and most people can't handle that. And that's kind of the story of like the previous overlord or the previous demon king was a kid who had a mutation that allowed him to basically be considered like half monster, so he kept generating mana rather than sucking it from the outer world. So he just got lucky with having a skill tree that required a shit ton of mana and a mutation that caused him to have limitless mana almost. And that's kind of the story. Of course, this mutation also came with him looking like monstrous essentially, so that prejudice equaled out him becoming the demon king. Prejudice led to bloodshed led to growth of his skill. Eventually he became this. It's not necessarily like a prophecy, it's more just like, oh yeah, if these three elements existed or can exist, it's not shocking that they could eventually bloom into this bad outcome of like a dude just fucking slaughtering a ton of people and trying to survive and trying to keep to himself, and people keep coming at him and it keeps progressively getting worse. Anyways, but I like that idea of the main character having like an army of imps essentially. I thought that was a fun weird thing that you could gamify. And I like the idea of like trying to find a way to nerf imps to some extent, you know? I also, again, I really like the idea of like paying an homage to like, I also thought like, I could have given him something that was like easy to dump his like mana in, but I like the idea of like this weirdly was like a bottomless sinkhole just to kind of infinitely pour mana in, because there's not like there's negatives to imps, but there's also not a lot of negative to imps. Like the fact that again, I like the idea of like if a god was writing a bunch of code, like skill cards, he's like, yeah, there's no cap on these things. Fuck, man. Okay, and they keep their battle damage or keep their battle sense through every battle. Fuck. Dumb as shit and costs a lot to cast. But there's not really there's like a crazy threshold for how many you can have out at once, because they're fucking tiny little bastards. And yeah, let's say they can evolve. Let's say this kid gets better with like the more souls you capture, I guess. Sure. Like I like the idea of a god basically like, fuck. Like I'm trying to nerf this thing, but I kind of like parts of it, but okay here. And again, it's funny because it's the same thing with a build. Like this is kind of in essence the idea of a build where all it takes is like one person to see like one angle on something to realize if I fix this one thing, this one problem in this build, everything is fixed. Like everything just becomes insane. Like, oh, you have a build that's OP as hell but drains a ton of mana. Fix the mana problem. Oh, you have a berserker but he dies instantly. Fix the health problem. Like if you could do that, then you can fucking conquer, you know. And I love that. Let me see what you guys are saying. Boldy says the age thing with elves also doesn't make lots of sense usually. Like if you see how old vamps. The dude is always wealthy. Why aren't elves even that? Well, that's true. That's interesting. Yeah. Nog says even think that only the vamps that survived that long were the wealthy ones. The poor dudes got filtered out. Yeah. I always thought the idea was that like if you theoretically have like infinite life, the odds of you compound understanding how to become proficient with business would compound hopefully. but yeah. What he says, maybe some kind of mana vessel. Yeah. Again, I think like the main character is trying to find a solution to like, it's either like, and I think in his brain, which I kind of want to make it, I want it to be like, it's either I find out how, like if I either get a skill that like is insane, like Sage, like lets me cast crazy spells, or I find one that kind of plays directly into the fact that I can like dump a ton of mana in it. And I think the one thing that he realizes is like, okay, if my only weakness to his whole build, his whole idea, is basically what happens if we buff up the scale. Like, so if I'm fighting an army, that kind of works. But if I'm what do you call it? If how do I describe it? Basically, he tries to put himself in a situation where, like, his parents are over there and he's over here, and even if he goes over there, it's not like the splash damage isn't going to affect his parents. So he's kind of trying to find a way to kind of solve his problem, which is that he can, like, he himself on the battlefield can, like, tear up everything. But what happens when there's, like, 5 battlefields going on? Or what happens when his parents are over there and he just needs to get them the fuck away from the death zone? And that's kind of the why he thinks, okay, imps solve all this, or summons, I should say. Summoning a creature solves all these problems. Basically a hunter clone jutsu, but with imps. Yeah, except I like the idea of like imps' value is the fact that they do keep their battle sense through every iteration, which is why the Demon King like perpetually ramped up his conquest. Is because eventually, after like people keep trying to come after him and kill him, his imps like are dumb, derpy. But then they're like, and man, one of my favorite parts from like Reincarnated as Slime was that stupid Gobbo or Gobby, whatever his stupid name is. For there to be moments where he's just a dumb idiot, he's the worst of them all. But then there would be moments where he's just a fucking badass. Like I can see scenes of like these imps just being like shitty minions. Like I'm talking like minions from Gru, like just dumb as hell, bricks in the brain, etc. And then for there to be like this great swordsman that fucking tries to slash them in half, and them just to like grab the fucking blade or some shit. Like they're dumb as hell, but they have like a freakish amount of sense.
Battle tactics.
What's up? Let me catch up on that. I'm trying to work my way through everything. But I like that idea. Like each iteration, they keep their battle sense. You could apply that to anything. But I thought imps were a fun get because they're kind of like, what's that thing in D&D? It's kind of like the Fae. Like it's a part of that weird realm of like tricksters and like catches to the rules, all that kind of stuff. And I thought that kind of fit in that weird domain. Boldy says, every time you mention a crazy ability, I'm thinking of a villain that could beat that ability. Yeah. Boldy says, maybe not the way to go, but I feel like having perfect skills for every occasion is too easy. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, Bolty. I don't think it is. So, like, what do you call it? Things weirdly do work, like make sense. Like again, this is the issue of like I can only tell you like, oh, this would work, but in no way is it the best option. Like he ends up picking this he ends up pushing through the dungeon of this once lost king, and he's given like 4 options, and the only reason he was given like 4 options as like a reward for clearing the first half or the first 30% of the dungeon essentially. And one of the things he gets like this amazing sword that like gives him lifesteal, which he's super tempted by. But ultimately, again, he still knows that like there's odds that I'll get another health steal item. Anyways, all I can say is
sorry for being quiet. Haven't had much to add regarding the story building, and just some sad news. So I'm trying to not let it bring me down too much.
No, sorry, Fluff. I don't know what happened, but I'm sorry you had to experience something like that. Whatever it is, the fact that you're having to. Yeah, the fact that anything negative is just not great. not deserving. You're such a wonderful person. I hate that something bad happened to you. Depending on... Yeah, again, it's tough, Bolty. The whole, like, I don't think having perfect skills is the way to go. It sucks to them. Like, there's absolutely not the perfect skills. Like, it's funny, because 90% of the story, like, if there's another half of the... I wanted to say have a story where, like, I focus on, like, fantasy tropes that are under thought upon, I guess, you know. But to me, the other part of the story, which is a person who has like a
Lone Syndicate said, also, I'm still here, just been enjoy the story time, and I'm no writer, so I have nothing to add.
I'm just happy you guys are here and putting up with me. But I was gonna say the other aspect of the story is like how a person who goes into like a fantasy setting has a warped sense of like gamification of stuff, and how that like flies in his face and shits all over the place, basically. So like the idea of like, oh, I got this skill that essentially lets me have infinite magic. Isn't that very overpowered, Bolty? Isn't that great? No, it's actually not. The reason why is because what the fuck happens when you're at 0 fucking mana in your body? It's like running a mile and then being like, hey, guess what? You still ran a mile. You know, so even though you're like, and the fact that you basically pop like back and forth between 0 mana, max mana, 0 mana, max mana, makes it so that you're like constantly in a state of agony. And like wanting to vomit and being like all kinds of fucked up. So that's 90% of the story to me, is finding things that sound good in a video game, like sound good on paper, and then finding a way for it to basically not be as good, or for the main character to have to find a way to earn it or to solve that problem as well. So that to me is like the point of the story, is how like, again, the whole like the message that God gave him before he approached he got isekai'd was essentially, this is a world where effort matters. So he's constantly like, having to basically make up for the shortcomings of each skill, which I think is awesome, because not a lot of stories do that. Not a lot of stories like mess around with the idea of like, oh, the skill sounds great, doesn't it? Little did you know that you didn't consider all these other variables, which are totally considerable. Like, of course it makes sense. The fact that you, like, it'd be like, you recover all your stamina in an
said
instant.
To try and be brief. Fauna of HoloLive, one of my faves, just announced her graduation.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, it's
I know of her personal channels, and she's been posting there recently, so I sorta expected something was up.
Yeah. Is this like her like leaving, or is like, it's tough to know when graduation is done by the VTuber or it's done by the company, you know? That's shitty though. Yeah, man. I've had so many content creators that have like just been like really not great as far as like human beings go. So it's kind of nice when they're. Again, I hope graduation doesn't imply that they're not creating content anymore. It could just be that, it could just be that they're like moving on and they're no longer playing that character, which is a little unfortunate. Although sometimes it does mean that, which I feel like is, I don't know, it's tough. I don't know if people could do that. I don't know. I should judge people, but the idea that there's so many people that care about you, that stick with you, and then you're like, well, I might be back, I may not be. It's kind of a little brutal. Maybe not way to go, but depending on the kind of imps, but mainly fire-related skills / abilities for characters, he could overfill them with mana and have kamikaze. That'd be fun. Yeah, it could also do boom. That's really fun. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Maybe they catch fire easily. Yeah. Being an opposite thing, but could be easy to balance that way. To me, the main thing I wanted, again, I guess when I seen the skill tree, I seen it in combination with the story of the Overlord, essentially. And that story is essentially like what would happen if the right thing happened at the right time. Like almost like, of course, like if any massive cataclysm, any like thing like the Demon King or like the hero, for all these stories to just basically be like, oh yeah, if this world is constantly having like these variables of skill trees and mutations, who's to say that those can't line up and make a fucking big splash? And then the main character basically finding a way to induce that on himself, which is kind of the nature of builds. Like it's finding the right synergy, the right weird coincidence of skills and like a weapon that does a thing to sequence in you becoming abnormal, you know? And also, I find there's other things you can do for conflict. Like, the conflict doesn't have to be he's weak. Or not weak. Like, the conflict doesn't have to be like this skill is too overpowered. It could be there's other powerful things in this world that make his skill less overpowered. You know what I mean? Ray says, I have returned. Good to have you, Ray. We're probably going to start winding down here, gang. It's also really late. I can't believe we streamed for so long. Nog says, an imp style Baneling, Zerling rush would be awesome, not gonna lie. So we have imps with battle attack. Well, yeah, more like battle instincts. Like I'd rather have them like each battle they're dumb as shit, but each battle their capacity to swing a sword is flawless. So they're still derpy. They're still not like gonna be able to do like crazy sufficient orders, but they're still like if you swung at them, they dodge it instantly if there's enough strategy left behind, you know, or if there's enough battles that they've been through. And I think that leans into something that I don't think people do with summoners in stories too often, which is actually like develop your summons, which I think is a lot of fun. Like I think a lot of stories are like, hey, you got the next summon that's bigger, stronger, and the other one, fuck them. Who forget about the other old ones? Screw them. And I kind of like the idea of like, well, what if you took something very small and feisty and made it godly? And of course, there's going to be other summons probably eventually that come unlocked, like a giant imp or some shit, like an ogre imp or something. But yeah.
Volty said, could the imps ambush someone theoretically?
Oh yeah, well it's very much like a lot of it's kind of based around the imps and overlords. So it's kind of like they just like sprawl out in front of the main character and they can kind of take general orders and they don't need to be tethered to him, which is the only like two values. Because honestly, a lot of the only value to an imp is in the thing is battle. It keeps its battle sense after every death. because you basically keep the soul of it. And then the other one is that you basically don't have it has a massive cap on how many you can have out, and that they don't need to be near you because you're summoning the soul of it, not connecting it, like basically hang on to its soul as it's there, like I would imagine a necromancer power works. Like I don't think a necromancer could be like run 20 feet in that or like 150 miles in that direction. I feel like it collapse after it gets far enough away, you know. Whereas if you had your soul bound to the thing, I think it would be able to act autonomously, maybe for a little while. I just came back, but I don't have anything to add either. I'll probably just be looking. I got you guys. Tomorrow is a stream which I'd hope some of you guys can jump into and try to contribute to, because it's kind of where we're going to be rambling about all of the things that we just did this past month. Reminiscing, if you will. What he says, the other thing I mentioned about having a failsafe, it's more in a way that that your MC doesn't explode his friends with all his crazy splash damage. Yeah, that's a good idea too. I also think that like a part of maybe that's something that also could be something fun, that like imps don't have any feeling, like they don't actually like have like just like necromancers, maybe they don't feel pain. Which would make sense why they're kind of stupid and a little bit what's it called, lack of self-preservation. Fluff says, she gave her reasons as disagreement with management. Okay, that's good at least. So that doesn't necessarily mean she's gone forever. That just means that she's separating from her talent agency, which means and given that she's been posting stuff on her normal channel, that means that she possibly could still do stuff. It does mean that collabs probably wouldn't happen, which is shitty, but which seems to be happening a lot these past years after the company went public. I know she'll be returning to her personal. Yeah, that's not. I don't feel like that's something to be too. Well, I shouldn't. I don't know. I don't know about the situation, but yeah, I feel like it could be worse. I guess is the thought that comes up in my head. It doesn't mean you can't feel bad, like feel like it's unfortunate, you know. Another of the JB Talent announcer became an affiliation, especially for after soft graduation just yesterday, which is at least wasn't hitting me as hard.
Gnawing Fetus said, "Don't have them not feel pain. Have them like the pain." What
do you say? That's actually true. That's funny you say that, Nong. I'm not sure if you ever did play the OG Overlord games, so that's exactly right. They actually did that, where they're like they loved. They were like a little bit masochistic, a little bit actually. That's like canon actually. Could the imps ambush theoretically? Because I see ambush/build traps as battle tactics. For example, some imps sacrifice themselves in order to lure someone into it. Yeah, I like all that. All that stuff could be applicable, I think. I like the idea of, like, again, this skill tree being what made the reign of the Demon King happen.
Lone Syndicate said, speaking of VTuber, I found this VTuber who has like the most beautiful model I've ever seen. Grin mind.
Hit me with it real quick. Or rewind it. Hit me with fast. We'll have one quick, what do you call it, VTuber judge sesh before we end. But I appreciate so much Bolty and everyone else for listening around. Bolty, Gnawing, Fluff popped in for a little bit too. Thank you so much for letting me ramble about my story and stuff, like guys. I talked way more about it than I thought I would. I know it's probably confusing because, again, I can't tell you guys all the little details and stuff like that, because it would just be an endless stream. But those are the things that I find my takeaway is that I find it frustrating that I'm building out the end, like the ending of the first book, way faster than the beginning, which is like, God damn it. Fluff says, yeah, it's just tough. There's been multiple departures. Yeah, so it just feels like getting beaten down constantly. Yeah.
McFlufferkin said, I'm not worried about being unable to keep watching the English talents, as I know most of their personal, indie names, so I can keep up with them. The agency simply owns the IPs of those models.
Yeah, so all the content and the models and shit like that are gone. That's shitty. A little too much, in all honesty. I love that, Nog. What he says, is the voluptuous beast with the giant... What? What? Is it the voluptuous beast with the giant homuncuses? What? I don't know what that means, Bolty. Let me pause this and do this.
Bolty said, I meant it towards Lone VTuber.
Oh. Oh, is that the one? I see. You're trying to see which one it would be. I don't know what it could be. I haven't seen any new VTubers recently pop up. I feel like we're finally starting to balance out. Oh, fuck, I was going to say that, dude. I was sweating bullets. I know it's stupid. It's dumb. I was sweating bullets watching Iron Mouse on Kai Cenat's stream the other day. I don't know why. I just watched like a clip of it, and I was sitting there, my heart started racing, because I was like, oh no. It's almost like watching like your kid on stage, maybe saying like a speech that's going to be good, it's going to connect with people, or maybe they say something that's not so good, maybe there's like some tension. I don't know. It felt like one of those moments where like you're watching your niece on stage and you're like, oh God, she's doing great. And she did good. I'm like, get the fuck out of there. Get the fuck out of there now. Jeez Louise, that's just an anxiety-induced hellscape. Anywho, shouldn't be the case, but it was the case. Come on, Lone. Send that image. I'm starving. Oh. Yeah, we got, man. I have not. I go, man. One of the VTubers I watch every now and again, and I just think, whew. I've not tuned into any of their streams, but I've watched like some of their clips, and man, the one that's there's like shorts that pop up that I'm like, damn. Where I think it's what do you call it? Buff Pup, where she has like there's clips of her being like showing her fucking armpit hair and shit that she has on her model, which she's kind of like a furry tiger thing, a fox thing. So I guess it adds up, but I think it's not just that. Okay, Lone, I don't know if I can show this, buddy. Maybe? Yeah, let's just say yes. I see why you like the character, Lone. I like it a lot. I think this one, to me, is really neat. Again, I think I would prefer a little bit less holy moly booba. Not that it's just that it kind of, I can't notice the other stuff when so much else other stuff is there. Ha! Anyways. But I think the tattoos are fucking sick. I don't think a lot of people capitalize on that. I think, weirdly enough, the collarbone looks cool. Long ass fucking neck, though.
McFlufferkin said, for those interested, Lemonleaf, or Lemonleaf Asthma, is worth checking out. Also, that VTuber reminds me of characters from
Terra. It makes sense. Yeah, Terra makes sense.
Bolty said potato cube.
I'm about to say, little potato keck thing. I guess that's her audience. I like the ears. I think the eyes are beautiful. The hair, I think, is fun. The cape, neat ad. This weird shit.
Lone Syndicate
this
said
weird
this
shit.
is Husha, and she is a cursed potato goddess.
Cursed potato goddess. That's cute. Is she the potato, or is she this? Or is this a vessel in which the potato just does life? I don't know. I like it a lot. I think it looks nice. The only thing I might say, I would say honestly, I was gonna give the criticism that there's maybe too much going on, but honestly, I don't know if that's apparent because I think there's just, sounds weird, but if we'd cut off Booba Land, there's just a lot of like dead space here, which actually makes it so there's not too much going on, like the neck and the shoulder and all that stuff. Even though there's like a horn here and there's a weird shit here and there's like an astrology in her fucking hair or whatever it's called, stars, and yeah, it looks nice. I like the earring. Cute.
McFlufferkin said, I cannot confirm or deny that Lemonleaf moonlighted as a certain green lady, Kirin and Mother Nature, but most importantly, Slap God.
Wait, what? Like the green deer lady that the Iron Mouse used to hang out with a lot? I've seen a video of her, I think, who she said she was having a hard time. I didn't actually watch the video. I just seen it pop up, and I thought, oh, no. But also, Lone sent us another one, which I'm not sure if I can show.
Lone Syndicate said the second one is her Halloween model.
Yeah. I would give this one, out of what I click and watch and like pause, I think I would give it a 7 or an 8. I would give this one probably a 4. I don't like too much going on. I can't. This is the definition of messy. But outside of that, yeah, I don't like this one very much. This one's too much. I do like the blood eyes though, but yeah, I think that first one to me was the right amount of not too busy, and still got it done. Yes. Potato cake, $5. She is Russian. Is she? I will say it's definitely unique. It's definitely not like, again, we usually have the problem of like, it's just like a K-pop girl or K-pop boy or like a fashionista, and that's definitely not this, which is nice. I don't know what her story is. Her story doesn't like invoke much of like it looks like an elf that was cursed possibly, but outside of that, I don't get potato queen, etc. Whatever her lore is. Perhaps that's the thing. Her overall look is like a cool elf person you click on, and then you realize there's a potato on her head, and that's her whole vibe. I don't know. No, that's the different green lady, Haruka Karabi. Also been going through rough patch this past year. She deserves lots of love too. Yeah. Again, it's unfortunate to see so many people who are deeply not doing well. Yes. Boy, I don't know. Life is so complicated and hard for everybody, and I hope it just gets easier for most people because yes, seems like a mess. But alas, ladies and gentlemen, thank you kindly for your time. Appreciate you hanging out with me. That was the stream. I am starving, dude. I'm so fucking hungry. I don't know what's going on. Also, tomorrow we will be streaming at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, but it might not be for that long. We probably have to end it. We definitely have to end it at 5. So it'll be like a 2-hour quick stream, I think. But we will basically just be reminiscing and looking back at the previous month and all that we were able to do. And kind of having takeaways.
Lone Syndicate said go eat GRINN.
Thank you. Also, thank you everyone for putting up with my story rambling. I appreciate that immensely. It helps me kind of think, and yes, and I appreciate your insight and all that stuff. And tomorrow will be the final
McLufferkin said hope y'all have a good day.
Final stream.
Looking forward to the epilogue and recap stream tomorrow.
Yes. Good. Well said, Fluff. Goodbye, my friends.